soldier of fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. And the warrior's blood through your veins is coursing.
He goes outside. He's got Ledford with him. Chris Blassie is going to win it at the line here in Daytona.
Every move, take your shot, don't be a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Ready to take your aim. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Ready to take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you got and all you ever need.
He's going to drive up into him. Can Coots hang on to it off the corner? Coots gets it.
It's one bullet in the chamber. Ready to take your aim, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna
Drivers
do?
side by side, coming out of turn 4. Rap with the 52 on the outside, the 99 to the inside. Rap's going to win it at Auto Club.
So what you gonna do?
If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas Performance from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome everybody, I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the booth tonight. We're bringing you live racing action in the NASCAR trucks from Dover, Delaware for the Stage Break Podcast 200. Reaching completion in 1969, the construction of the Dover International Speedway took just 3 years. That was actually a long time compared to other tracks built during that era. Part of the extended construction time was due to the complex also being used for horse racing. When the facility was finally ready for NASCAR wheels to touch their newly paved asphalt, none other than Richard Petty was there to take the first checkered flag. After it opened, the original publicist for the track said the 7 years of low attendance nearly shut the track down. It was the fistfight in the 1979 Daytona 500 between Cale Yarbrough and Donnie Allison that actually brought fans back to the track. It should be noted that in 1995 the track replaced their asphalt with concrete, making it just the second track after Bristol Motor Speedway to do so, which gives the track a truly distinct character and identity that drivers either love or hate. Chris, in 2006, Dover rebranded and renovated the facility to include a 46-foot-tall, menacing monster named Miles, an homage to the track's nickname, the Monster Mile. It can be seen half a mile away. Just like a monster, if you aren't careful, this track is going to reach out and bite you with its sweeping, sharp, yet narrow track. What do you expect to see out of drivers if they're going to stay out of the monster's clutches tonight?
Well, Ellis, you brought up the comparison to Bristol earlier, and I think that's a very fair comparison. Think of this track right here. Think of it like Bristol on steroids almost. It's a half a mile longer than Bristol, high bank concrete corners, 200 laps around here tonight, just like what we had at Bristol, but these 200 laps, I know it sounds like a lot, but they're going to go by super, super fast with just 23 seconds to do a complete circuit around here. We got 65 laps on the tank of fuel roughly tonight. Restops are expected, but these tires are going to wear out a lot, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about when we come back after the national anthem here. 200 laps, like I said before, here, 32 trucks. It should be a fast and furious race here tonight.
Lots of stories to keep an eye on. We're also going to talk about the presenting sponsor of the race, the Stage Break Podcast, but all that's going to be on the back end of the national anthem. It's time for that Slingshot fan favorite. Everyone rise and remove your caps if able. We'll be right back after the national anthem. All right, back here in Dover, Delaware, getting ready for the Stage Break Podcast 200. Speaking of the Stage Break Podcast, we're going to take a moment to learn a little bit about the title partner of this race, and we're going to talk to its host, Josh King. But first, let's go ahead and see what this podcast is all about, and then we'll talk to the host, Josh King, here in just a moment.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Josh, and I'm the host of the Stage Break Podcast. Each and every week, we cover the NASCAR Cup Series, but we do so in a time frame that you can afford. We talk about major headlines, interesting stories, race and strategy insights that might be helpful to you as you watch the NASCAR Cup races each and every weekend. You can find additional information about the show at thestagebreakpodcast.com. There you'll find links to everything that we have to offer. So what are you waiting for? Be sure to go check it out. Again, my name's Josh, and I'll catch you at the next episode of The Stage Break.
All right, we've got the host of the Stage Break Podcast with us, joining us for a few minutes during pre-race. Josh King, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We are glad to have you. I know last time we had you on, we had some technical difficulties, so it's good to have things a little bit more finely tuned tonight. But hey, man, that podcast, listen to the first couple of episodes this season. You're doing a really good job, and one of the things I've kind of found that I really like about the podcast is it's a great way to get kind of smaller bites of information. You know, a lot of the NASCAR podcast are, you know, an hour, 90 minutes or longer. If you're looking for kind of digestible portions of information, whether it's about the last race or to get you ready for the next one, you've done a great job with that.
Well, I appreciate that. I think all of us NASCAR fans would love to be able to sit down for an extended amount of time and be able to listen to some of these shows and take them in. But I'm one of those individuals that could not find, didn't have the time to do that. And I went looking around, couldn't really find a podcast that fit into the time frame I had available. So I just figured I'd make one.
Well, you made one. You made a really good one. You had some big guests on there last season, including Bob Pockris, I'm sure, famous NASCAR reporter. I'm sure you're working on getting stuff lined up for this season. Speaking of this season, you know, we're at Dover tonight, but I want to take a second to ask you about what's been the biggest surprise in the real NASCAR Cup Series season that you've seen these first 3 or 4 races of the season.
I think some of it, I think we were all kind of waiting with anticipation to see how the new bodies for Ford and Toyota would take shape and what kind of results we would get with those new looks, aerodynamically. And I think it's interesting that Ford has been so good at qualifying, and then Toyota has been strong in general, and then Chevys have got the most wins. So it's kind of like at this point in the season, we really don't have a solid answer on what's going on with all of that yet. And that's actually something that'll be in a future episode when we get some more races under our belt here, is just kind of evaluate those updated cars and see how they're measuring up statistically to everyone else. But I don't know. It's been a good season so far. I think Atlanta was such a really good race. That was actually something that we talked about a couple episodes ago. I gave 8 reasons why the Atlanta Spring Race was such a good race, and tried to really break it down. And we've been to Atlanta before, but what made this race different from the rest? And the short track package too, like from last week, that was something that I think I expected more of a difference from, but really didn't notice it at Phoenix. But once we get some more short tracks in that utilize that updated short track package, I think we'll have some more information on that as well.
It's been a great season so far, and we'll continue to look forward to hearing about that on your podcast, Stage Break Podcast. So real quick, before we get the grid set for tonight, you talked to me during pre-race a little bit, and we talked about how much you like the track Dover when you have driven in the sim. What can we kind of expect to see tonight, just from a historical standpoint, from truck races or NASCAR Cup races at Dover? What should we be on the lookout for?
Oh, you're definitely going to be looking for a very high-paced race, things that unfold very quickly just because of the high banks and the distance and the initial grip that you have up front. I think you're going to have the potential to see a lot of aggressive moves, but also a lot of potential for mistakes. So, Dover is one of those tracks when I raced in the leagues that I was in that I was actually, I felt pretty good about. Never was able to get a win, But I led a lot of laps here at this track, and there was something that just clicked about it with me. I was able to, the line I found and meshed with my driving style seemed to hold up over time. I didn't have as much tire fall off as some other drivers, and it was a lot of fun. So
Awesome, man. Well, Josh King, we're glad to have your perspective, host of the Stage Break podcast. We're glad to have you with us tonight. Appreciate you partnering with us for this race. Race fans can go and listen to that NASCAR podcast on Google Podcasts while it lasts, I guess, and Spotify and any other platform they listen to. Also, the episodes are posted on YouTube, right?
So they're on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, basically all the major podcast platforms. It's on there. Not some of the smaller ones, but the major ones, it's out there. Or you can just go directly to the stagebreakpodcast.com, and there's an audio player on the homepage. So if you're not one that has a podcast player, or you're not really interested in subscribing, but you still want to check it out, you can do so there.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate it. And, stories to follow on that podcast. We're going to be looking at some stories to follow tonight as we get gridded up for the race. We're going to talk about a couple things, first of all. But, Chris, this bubble battle leading into the final race at Daytona next week, it's going to be crazy. That final regular season race, we've got about 6, 7, 8 drivers within 15 points of each other just trying to get into the chase for the championship this year. Those final 5 races starting off at Rockingham and ending at Charlotte. It's going to be crazy. You can see those points on the screen right now. Several of these drivers we're going to talk about in the starting lineup in a minute, but it is crazy that difference between 9th and 15th, just about 21 points. So it's going to get crazy, Chris. I'm really excited for next week at Daytona to see how things go. But this week, we've got to talk about the starting lineup here at Dover. With no further wait, the Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award goes to Jacob Bradley tonight. Fast time in that number 50. Won the race just 2 weeks ago. Looking to see if he can win 2 out of 3 races here today at Dover. Randy Bechtel in the 51 starting second. Scotty Sobczak starting third in the 81. Justin Wilson, driver 58 outside of row 2. 5th is Wesley Pistol. Ryan Hinkle, great qualifying effort. 6th, Scott Tompkins, his teammate, right behind him in 7th. Dan Rowe, 8th. Chase Berry in the 46 9th. Chris Pearce back tonight, starting 10th. Rye Jones, still winless this season, going to be starting 11th. Jeremy Gardner back after an absence. He's starting 12th. Cordell Lofgren, great starting position for the driver to the number 83, 13th. Thomas Coonan, 14th. Tony Caputo qualifies 15th. Aaron Smith, Chris, starting a little bit further back in 16th position. Jacob Chase starting 17th. Josh Ward 18th. The rest of the grid will scroll by. We're getting ready to go green here. Pace car is off. Jacob Bradley takes the point. Green flag waves. We are underway here at Dover. Bradley gets a great jump. Randy Bechtel doesn't get the best start. Several drivers off the throttle. Big crash on the front straightaway. Big pile up, Chris. We saw the track blocker that we had worried would happen. Looked like the 51 did not get going, Chris.
Yeah, we're going to go back and see if we can see what transpired here. Got a lot of cars tore up right here down in turns 1 and 2. See if we can go back and watch what occurred there. Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit of a stack up right here on the top. Randy Bechtel doesn't quite accelerate like the 50 of Jacob Bradley does. And I don't know if a little bit of a log jam from there on back. I think it might be beneficial if we look at this from overhead. It looks like with Ryan Hinkle also, he stacked up just a little bit there. He's that orange truck that you see, and like from there on back, it just gets worse and worse and worse the further back in the field. The first truck that we see go around is Thomas Coonan. He had some contact, looked like from Aaron Smith from behind. And it's just a big jam up, unfortunately.
I was worried that was going to happen as soon as I saw the 51 of Randy Bechtel kind of not get the best start, it looked like it was a chain reaction like you mentioned. And at Dover, there's no place to go. I would love to ride on board with the number 14, Lee Campbell, Chris, because I think that is going to be an intense shot on board the number 14. I think he scooted right on the exit of pit road. Look at that.
Yeah, this is riding on board right here with Aaron Smith. You can see it just everything just stacks up right in front of him. Yeah, we will actually check out Lee Campbell in the 14 here, right on board with Lee, as he's riding right here behind Johnny Rapp, Patrick Colby, it looks like. They start wrecking in front of him. He gets on the binders. Oh, I think he might have got hit from behind. Yeah, and man, luckily, when he got sideways, he found the gap right there behind Dan Berg. We'll actually look on the rear bumper. I think this is Brandon Waltrip behind him.
Oh,
yeah, some contact from behind. But honestly, that contact, I think it pushed him clear of the crash. I think that might have saved him.
I think you are right. I think he's going to be glad for that contact from the number 21, it looked like there. Race director Sam Maxwell getting this cleared right now. I'm not sure if we're going to see an EOL from this one or not, just based on everything that has happened. Just looking at some of the cars that did get damaged. I believe Dan Berg, Raymond Hanneman, Nick DeCesare, Tony Caputo, Josh Ward, Patrick Colby, James Danforth. Points leader Aaron Smith, Chris. I think that is one of the stories here. That number 70 truck did get some damage. I don't necessarily have an X counter right now.
It doesn't look too bad. Say it's just cosmetic damage. I don't know if there's any like major type of wheel damage. The thing that's going to hurt him more than anything else here is once we get back going green, is there anything that's going to cause him to be a little bit tight in the center of the corner? And if that's the case, man, this track, we mentioned it before, it really wears out the tires. So you don't want to have that happen here. We're going to keep an eye on this restart here because we don't want to have the same thing happen on this restart that we had on that initial start there.
Yeah, and I think right now race director Sam Maxwell is talking to drivers, probably telling them, look, cool your jets just a little bit.
Give a little bit more room.
And let's see if we can get a clean start to this race. Just about half a lap away to reset things. Jacob Bradley is going to be scored as the leader. He's chosen the outside. Scotty Sobczak in the 81 on the inside. Randy Bechtel third. Wesley Pistol is going to be on the inside in fourth. So the outside line is the popular position right now. Jacob Bradley going to lead him down the green flag. Pace car peels off. It's going to be on Bradley in the Geico restart zone. He waits till the very last minute. A couple of drivers. Bechtel, Chris, slow again. Not sure what's going on. And we have another crash. Another crash. And pardon me, I can't contain a little bit of frustration and confusion here as to what's going on these restarts. We haven't seen anything like this, Chris, all season.
No, we'll ride on board here with Randy Bechtel and see if maybe we can ride on board and listen. It just seems like he's not getting up through the gears.
But where are the other drivers?
Yeah.
So if you're in the car behind him and you see the car slowing up, where's the kind of patience?
Yeah, we got to have a little bit more, we just need a little bit more room. I mean, it's hard, though. It's very hard. That sounded like a first gear restart to me, and that might not be the way to go. I don't know what everybody else is doing, so it might sound like I'm judging a little bit too quickly and probably shouldn't speculate because don't know if everybody else is doing the same thing, but first gear might not be the way to go for these restarts here as, a lot of damage for Rye Jones. Josh Ward, one of our top points guys as well. Looks like he also got some damage from this deal as well. Go back and try to watch this from a little bit different perspective. And, actually, we went back here. But yeah, that's a really, really unfortunate way to start this race, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to try to figure out what... I think we know the origin point is at 51. That's not necessarily on him. It's on the drivers behind him to check up. We're just going to try to figure out what was going on and maybe where some of the fault might have laid. Not a grammar teacher. It looked like the 68 maybe tried to cut to the bottom.
Yeah, we'll go back and see if we can... just see this. I'm going to have to rewind a little bit because we can't see it any other way, it doesn't look like. But yeah, I see the first one. Yeah, the 68 moving out of line right there to try to avoid. It looked like Ryan Hinkle. He didn't want to run into Ryan Hinkle, but unfortunately, Rye Jones is down there, and he hooks Rye Jones back up into traffic, back up in front of everybody, and we got a big mess on our hands at that point. Chris Pearce went to the inside right here, did a nice job of avoiding. any type of major catastrophe. It looks like Cordell Loughran got caught up in it. Looks like the 5 of Jeremy Gardner also caught up in it. Lots of trucks caught up in it. James Danforth, Matt Kuntz, and Nick Desesare. It looks like Nick got stopped. I think that Kuntz might have a little bit of damage there. So Lovely Days look like that. He can still keep their painted numbers, painted names right there on his stomach.
Yeah, Lovely Days of the chat was rooting on Very Racing Motorsports, saying he did have their numbers painted on his stomach. Diehard fan. Speaking of the chat, we appreciate all of you joining us, whether it's Lovely Days, whether it's Evan Pienta. I'm sure he's getting a kick out of this. How Fit 11, Don Hilbrans, Mr. Depot 11.
Hey, Evan, just
John
wait, man. When you're up here in the booth, this is what you got to look forward to, man.
It's going to be fun. But we appreciate all y'all letting us know that you are here in the chat. Thanks for being patient. Kind of a crazy start here. I think we've had at least 15 cars involved in one of these. Chris, I don't think we've made it through really a corner at this point. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat right now. What driver on track are you going for tonight? And hey, let us know. Do you think we're going to make it another lap without a caution? I can tell you that it's not going to come from the outside because the car that we've seen or the truck that we've seen kind of be the catalyst point. The 51 is on the inside this time, and we don't quite know if it's a first gear restart maybe going on the 51 that's just gone wrong twice now. And just the field's kind of gotten stacked up here. So we are on lap 8, but Chris, I don't think we've really seen a lap of green flag action. So if you're tuned in right now, please, 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 we will get some long green flag runs with some good racing going on right now. But if you're just tuning in, we've had 2 first lap incidents that have been the result of stack-ups on the track. Right now, driver's going to try to be a little bit more patient on this restart. I can say that the 60 of Dan Rowe was awarded or given the EOL for being at fault for that incident, deemed that way by race control Sam Maxwell. We saw the replay of that. But right now, we're focusing on going forward. Pace car going to be pulling off here at about half a lap. It's going to be Jacob Bradley and Scotty Sobczak. Scott Tompkins is the new car in the top 3. Wesley Pistol in that Tennessee Volunteer Mobile is in the 4th position. Randy Bechtel 5th, followed by Chase Berry 6th. Chris, he's just got to be patient. I know Josh King, you talked about it a little bit earlier, but this is a track where it can be a very fast-paced race. You got to be patient as a driver. So, what do you think? We're going to make it a lap without a wreck here, Josh?
I'm hoping so.
Me too.
No, I think so. Yeah, it's we'll have to see if they can keep the tires underneath them.
Green flag is back underway. 51 truck gets a much better restart. Everyone gets clear this time by. The 50 jumps up to the inside to throw the block on the 81. He clears the 81. Sobczak second, Pistol third. It's Scotty Tompkins, first car on the outside, who's slipping back a couple of positions here on the restart. That 25 truck back from third all the way to sixth now. He's got Chase Berry and Chris Pearce right behind him. First 5, 6, 7 cars single file. Bradley, about 8 car lengths of a lead now as they head down into turn number 1. Now lap 11, Johnny Rapp on the outside. Chris, everyone looks like they're taking it just a little bit easier. This time I'm seeing some green dots in the chat, and I like that. Green is good right now, especially after kind of the crazy start we've had to this race. Jacob Bradley, about 8 car lengths on the lead. First battle I'm seeing right now looks like Chase Berry in 7th. Jumps underneath Scott Tompkins to pick up that 6th position. Tompkins, I think, let him go. I saw a little bit of communication on the radio between those drivers. Tompkins going to tuck in behind Chase Berry. He's got Chris Pearce and looks like Jacob Chase in the 44 with a 43 truck with a good run going right now. These drivers, this is a battle for 6th position between Berry, Pearce, Chase, and Leach as well as joined that fight with Thomas Coonan not far behind him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all to see Chase Berry moving up. Normally we don't see Chase moving up through the field this quickly at the start of a race. Chase normally likes to take his time, maybe even save a set of tires. But I raced with Chase in another league race here at Dover a few weeks back, and he was really fast from the drop of the green flag there. And it looks like he's carrying that mentality on into here as we got, it's like Thomas Coonan trying to make a pass for the 10th spot on Jay Leach.
Yeah, he is successful in making that pass on the number 22 of Jay Leach. That's the 86 truck who moves into the 10th position. He started 14th, up 4 positions early on in the race. Sets his sights on the back bumper of that number 43 of Jacob Chase, who's got his own fight going on with the 65 right in front of him now, that Apex Energy truck. Driving down the back straightaway here, Chris, this is a tough track just in terms of rhythm and going through these corners. It feels a lot faster than you would expect going through these corners.
Yeah, it does. This is a really, really fast track. You know, you heard Josh talk about it in the lead up there to the green flag. You know, everything happens really, really fast here. And because of the speed center of the corner here, the way it works in the sim is that you can really, really abuse the tires because of that center of the corner speed. As here we got Coonan making a pass on the inside of Chase. This is a battle for the 9th spot.
Yeah, battle for 9th position. That's the 86 moving underneath the 43 of Jacob Chase. They take that battle down into turn 1. The 86 on the inside, Chase, and the 43 on the outside. Chase not letting go of the 86. They're going to drive it side by side on the exit of turn number 2 down to the inside. Coonan tries to look to the inside down into turn 3, but it looks like the 43 is going to win that battle, at least for the time being. Right behind them, there's another battle going on between Jay Leach trying to hold off Johnny Rapp and a charging Aaron Smith, who started 16th. And as a result of that starting spot, Chris, Aaron Smith back in the 70 truck got a little mired in some of those early race incidents. We thought the damage might not be that bad. I guess time will be the truth teller in terms of just how much damage the 70 has. But hey, shout out in the chat, Kathy Scherf, appreciate you joining in. Julie, my mother-in-law, appreciate you joining in. Hi, Moki. Steve Bradley as well. Appreciate everyone. Don Hilbrans rooting on Aaron Smith. A lot of race fans in the chat tonight. That battle for the 10th position between Coonan and Chase, now the 9th position, Chris, heating up just a little bit more. Looked like the 43 got a little bit loose off the corner and opened the door for the 86, but the 43, that outside line is working pretty well, at least in these battles. But talk about the damage you can do to the tire by running on that outside.
Yeah, I think that we could really, really see a lot of tires get hurt by running up there for a long time. You know, the way this concrete surface works, the way that it takes rubber, you know, and the track state resets after qualifying. You know, it goes to a 0% state, so it can be fast to hold somebody off because you can get that run on corner exit. As you can see, Coonan, you know, he's trying to make up some ground right here on the top on Chase. But it can really, really damage the tires over the course of that long run.
Speaking of long runs, one of the drivers who's best on the long runs, Chris, Wesley Pistol. We got a little battle going for third.
Yep.
He is caught second place, Scotty Sobzak right now, and working a little bit different line. I'm seeing a little bit of a diamond action going on, at least in turns 1 and 2. That number 94 running just a little bit higher right now.
Yeah, he is. He's, you know, and that's another strategy that you can take here. It kind of helps you get that run up off the corner. You know, I try to make those straightaways a little bit longer so you can, you know, really, really take advantage of a little bit more on throttle time. And you know, some people can make it work here. I've always had a hard time making that work and save the tires. I find that, I don't know, it might just be like my driving style. You know, and Wesley might be able to make it work for him over the course of the long run, but I always found it that I was at my best just rolling the bottom here. And that was the only way that I could really run on a long run. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on Wesley right here and see if maybe he can do that.
Hey, speaking of Wesley, he is our driver spotlight of the race. Each race we like to check in with the driver, ask him 4 or 5 questions, get to know a little bit about them, let you fans connect and learn a little bit about the drivers that you see virtually in the car, what they might be like in real life. And he is our spotlight driver, number 94, Wesley Pistol. We're going to take a second. We'll keep the action on this little battle here, but we'll hear a little from Wesley.
I am a fixed assets accountant for a telephone and cable company. Ooh, I like them both. I guess grilled cheese is probably the more hearty comfort food, so I'll go with that one, I guess. All time, Bill Elliott. Current, I would say Ryan Blaney. I like
Out of caution on track right now. Of course, they choose the time that we went outside of the action for a moment. That looks like it might have been, Chris, the number 86 of Hanneman and James Danforth. Going to try to see what happened here. And the 88, I'm not sure from my view if he came up on the 85 or not. We're going to grab a quick replay of this and see what we can find out from this lap number 27 caution. We'll find out what the race controller believes happened, but we'll take a replay first.
Yeah, so some really close action right here in 3 and 4 between both Danforth and Hanneman. And, I don't know how that one's going to be. I don't know how that one's going to be called. This is kind of hard to see from that angle here. We'll see if we can watch it from overhead. Man, that's
Selected Patrick Colby, kind of an innocent bystander in all of that.
Man, he really was an innocent bystander. I don't know how that one's going to be called. I think that one could have been. I think that one could have been avoided by just a little bit more room. Like, I don't think that there's any reason to be all up on everybody's door right there. It's really, really close. And just a little bit more room. Yeah, it looks like the 88 sliding up the hill a little bit, maybe in the 85. I don't want to speculate how our race controller, Sam Maxwell, is going to call that one. But, yeah, we'll ride on board right here with Patrick Colby to show you what he saw. Man, you hear him gunning right there. He's obviously not happy at all. And yeah, it was like, the 88's a little bit up the track right there. We'll wait and see how it gets called, but man, unfortunate for those drivers right there.
The penalty on that lap number 27 incident went to the 88, deemed that way by our race controller. If we're looking for movement, it looks like he probably saw the 88 moving up really more than anything, and I think that was probably the determiner of that EOL fault point. But it's going to bring the rest of the cars into the pit right now. Actually, not quite yet. Looks like we're not going to have any takers this time by, at least lap number 28. Drivers looking to save those tires. Those tires at a premium tonight with just 4 sets available over the course of 20 or 200 laps. These drivers looking to hang on to them as long as possible.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, especially with as few green flag laps as we had here. If we get a rash of cautions at the end, and I even pushed Ellis to let y'all know, I pushed Ellis really, really hard to add long green flag runs ? Into the stories tonight, and shows you how smart I am here. We've already had 3 cautions in 30 laps.
I will say, to be fair, the first 2 cautions were in the first 2 laps. Really, if, like 2 green flag laps, 2 restarts, 2 cautions. To be fair, so. Looking through a couple opinions in the chat, people saying the 88 came up a little bit. I think he's a Street Limit fan. Walter, we appreciate you. So I think he's probably a little upset with what happened there.
I think that
here to root on the team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that he did move up a little bit. And I think that's that's just hard racing right there. And if there was one thing I'd say, I think a combination of factors might have played a role in that. But yeah, I think that Sam Maxwell ruling the way that he did, our race controller, definitely confirms that the 88 did slide up into the path of the 85 right there, causing that crash.
Yeah, so right now, I believe the lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to be gearing up here for a restart in just a moment. Pace car has gathered up, Chris, and by my count, I'm only seeing about 12 cars who have not been involved in an incident in some way, shape, or form, Chris, based on the number of pit stops I've seen being taken. I might be wrong on that number, but based on kind of the data that I have at my access here,
it's like top 12.
It has been a dangerous night on track very early. Of course, we had a couple of stack-up track blockers in the beginning. Opinion coming in from Evan Piente here says, could have given a little bit of room off the corner, and I think that's kind of what we touched on, early. Early. Right now it's early, but Jacob Bradley wants to continue to lead. Pace car is going to pull off. Bradley's going to have the command of the restart. He's got the option to go whenever he hits that Geico restart zone. He mashes it towards the end. We are back underway here at Dover. Bradley gets away. Bechtel is second. Can he close the door on the number 81 of Scott Sobczak? He does. Sobczak to third. Chase Berry to fourth. The first side-by-side battle is that orange truck, Wesley Pistol, inside the 65 of Chris Pearce, but Pearce shoots up to the fifth position on that outside. He's going to try to take Justin Wilson with him. Wilson hangs to the right rear quarter panel of the number 94, a little bit loose off the corner, but that outside momentum is going to carry him side by side down into turn number one. Pistol up the track a little bit, almost contact with the number 58 of Justin Wilson. They're still side by side down the back straightaway. Wilson leads. Wesley Pistol still with a nose to the inside. Wilson's finally going to close it. It's going to be Tompkins and Coonan in 8th and 9th. The battle for 8th and 9th going on between that black number 25 and the number 86. Red and white. Coonan almost into the back of the number 25. Almost had an incident there, Chris. Scott Tompkins and Thomas Coonan racing for the 9th position. Wesley Pistol right in front of them. A little bit battle going on. I believe that's Dan Rowe and Jamie Leach. A little bit battle going on further back for the 12th position. It's Rowe going underneath Leach, actually for 11th position. They're side by side down into the corner. Lots of action. This is a hornet's nest right now. They're working their way by the lap car of Matt Scherf, involved in an earlier incident. I know we've got a Matt Scherf fan, Kathy Scherf, in the chat watching. Appreciate her joining in to watch Matt tonight. Sorry he's not having the run that you would have liked. This is a return for Matt after missing the better part of this season. He's back in action tonight, so we're glad to see him out there despite going a lap down early. And this battle really is not settled out at all, Chris, as we watch Dan Rowe slide underneath the 52 of Johnny Rapp.
Yeah, Dan Rowe is on the freshest tires up here. He's up to the 10th position here. He and several others, about the top 12, had stayed out and were on those older tires, but they're not that much older, so we're going to see how this plays out right here. Obviously, Dan Rowe, Jeremy Gardner as well. I think these guys are going to be moving up, but the question is how fast are they going to be moving up, as looks like Aaron Smith behind him, also on fresh tires, joining in this battle.
Yeah, Aaron Smith up to 14th position, but these cars are on top of each other. You see Dan Rowe have to lift out the throttle a little bit. It's going to take him 3 wide, now 2 wide down the front straightaway underneath the 86 of Thomas Coonan. Dan Rowe shoots down to the inside. He's looking for the 10th position. He's going to gain it. Looks like Aaron Smith's going to follow him right through there with that hole that the number 68 opened. Up in front of him, Jeremy Gardner going for that position against Scotty Tompkins. Tompkins relinquishes it pretty easily. Gardner drove it in hard into that corner, Chris.
You see the difference that new tires makes right here. We talked about it in the pre-race. Tires make such a huge difference here at this track. It's a much bigger advantage here. And all the course of long runs, you know, this is going to equal out a little bit more, I think, over the course of this run. You know, the longer that you know, Jeremy and Daniel Rowe go. It's going to equal out, but you see just how advantageous it is just after a restart.
That number 5 is like lightning in a bottle right now. Jeremy Gardner on those fresh tires. First truck on fresh tires is just picking his way through the field, going underneath now. Chris Pearce in that number 65 Apex Energy machine. That sends the 5 into 5th place. He's got a battle going on in front of him, and I think he's going to make pretty quick work of it based on the closing rate that I'm seeing. Got to be careful, though. Which way is he going to try to take around? He's going to try to go on top. I don't know if Chase Berry is ready for that move. Is he going to get the 2-for-1 special? He's going to get the 3-for-1 special. That's about 3 cars in the matter of half a lap.
That's a lot.
Jeremy Gardner is passing. Now he is going for the lead, probably down into turn number 2, if I had to imagine, based on how fast these tires are, Chris. That time by Jeremy Gardner was 4/10 faster almost than Jacob Bradley. It's going to be easy on fresh tires. New car to the point. Jeremy Gardner, the 5 truck, leads now down the backstretch. Lap 41 of 200. New leader to the point. Gardner, number 5, is now number 1. Bradley second. That battle going on back further behind them, Chris, is heating up. Scotty Sobczak, Chase Berry, Dan Rowe, all racing on top of each other. This is a battle for the 4th, 5th, 6th position right now.
Yeah, that outside move that Jeremy Gardner made, that showed a lot of trust in his fellow drivers right there, and nobody was going to slide up into him right there. These guys that were coming along with Jeremy Gardner, they're making their way up through the traffic right there, but they haven't got through it as quickly as Jeremy Gardner has, and Gardner has kind of checked out on these guys, and we'll have to watch if we get a long green flag run here. Will he come back to Daniel Rowe and Aaron Smith, who are being a little bit more methodical in the way that they pick their way through this field?
Yeah, being very methodical right now are these guys on older tires. Aaron Smith, I believe, is going to be the 3rd car on new tires. He is now sitting in the 4th position. He's up 12 positions from the start of the race.
Yep.
Jeremy Gardner up 11. That shows you how much those new tires matter. Just looking further through the field to see if we've got some racing going on. Chris, this is a good little battle going on for the 12th position. Jay Leach working on the back of Thomas Coonan for 12th position right now. This one's been going on for a couple of laps. Coonan, I believe, has lost a couple of spots. Yeah, go ahead.
That's I think that's actually
Raymond Hanneman.
No. You're right. Dan Berg is a lap down. I apologize. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Berg working to the outside of Coonan. You've got Leach, who is a few car lengths back right here, trying to hold off Johnny Rapp right here. This is a battle right here. These guys are on older tires. It's a battle for the 13th spot.
Battle for the 13th spot right now going on between Jay Leach and the 22. Johnny Rapp. Leach closes up to the back of the 86. Might make it a battle for the 12th position. Active chat right now as we watch this race. Evan Pienta rooting for F. Scott Motorsports. Connor Line says this monster is hungry for trucks on the track. Boy, is that a true statement right there. Miles is hungry for some drivers. And hey, quick question: if you're watching in the chat right now, I'm curious if you were listening during pre-race, or maybe you just know, how tall is Monster the Miles, that statue in front of Dover Motor Speedway? You got to guess. Let us know, how tall is Monster or Miles the Monster, that statue made of concrete in front of the raceway. He's taken several victims tonight. Jeremy Gardner is definitely not one of them. He continues to lead here on lap 48 of 200, almost a 4th of the way through the race. Aaron Smith, Chris, is now up to 2nd.
Oh,
he continues that charge. Him and Jeremy Gardner essentially ran equal lap times that last time by. So that HTP truck, Hank Thomas performance truck, he is coming. Things looked a little bit dire for the driver of that number 70 earlier on in this race, but he's gotten it together pretty well. Aaron Smith in that number 70 truck, he's sitting in 2nd place right now. Chris, I think we might need to take just a moment to go side by side and hear from Hank Thomas Performance, the presenting partner of this race. And
Hank Thomas Performance is a Sunoco race fuel master distributor located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Our territory covers North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, as well as the Panhandle of Florida, providing quality Sunoco race fuel to many track and dealers throughout the region. In addition to Sunoco race fuels, Hank Thomas Performance distributes high-quality methanol and at-track supplies, as well as miscellaneous gas containers and everyday products that the at-track racer wants and needs as they compete at their local asphalt and dirt ovals, plus drag strips. You can reach us at 800-848-HANK, or if you're in our area, come out and visit us at the shop.
all right, back here from Dover, Delaware for the Stage Break Podcast 200 Slingshot Racing League, race number 9 of the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by, you just heard from him, Hank Thomas Performance. And that HTP truck, Chris, he is on a rail right now. Aaron Smith is catching Jeremy Gardner. That time by ran over a 10th faster that lap. Aaron Smith in the 70. He is your points leader. We thought things looked rough for him earlier in the race, but he's kind of worked his way through the field on tire strategy early. Aaron Smith, 2nd place now, but another battle we've got going on.
Oh, some contacts.
Looking back.
some contact
Patrick
between
Colby and
and
Thomas Coonan.
Yeah, some side that battle's been brewing right here for a few laps right here. Jay Leach has been up in the man. Jay Leach and Thomas Coonan have been racing each other really, really hard. Jay's been trying to get around him for several laps. I thought he had position on him right there. Just got a little bit too tight right there on corner exit. But yeah, Jay Leach been trying to get around Thomas Coonan for several laps, and he just has not quite been able to. And Patrick Colby got around him, but he had to get his elbows out just a little bit there.
Yeah, drove up the track a little bit, and that's one thing that I've noticed, Chris. Like, once these drivers kind of have maybe a little beef with someone, they're not going to cut anybody any slack on the track. So I think Patrick Colby may be showing a little bit of displeasure from some things earlier on in the season, and maybe used up that 86 truck just a little bit there to make that pass. Colby coming back from some damage earlier in the race. We thought he might have been down and out, but slowly working his way back towards the top 10 here on lap number 56. Good job from that driver out of New Hampshire, even though he's got the Alabama Crimson Tide colors on him this week.
He knows
that
where his loyalties lie.
Yeah, he knows. He knows how it is. He's a Southerner at heart. Patrick Colby, good season going on so far for Patrick. He's working on keeping his position in the chase right now, Chris. Just consistent finishes is what he wants. We mentioned when that chase starts, essentially the top 12 will qualify, and they'll reset with points leader starting at the top, and then every other position essentially going down in increments of 5 points. So even a driver who was 200 points out of it suddenly has a shot once those final 5 races of the season start. So a lot of drivers anxious for that chase to start, but we got Daytona to bring it into the regular season next week before we even have that conversation. So Patrick Colby just looking to make it out of Daytona, looking also to make it out of Dover before then, after kind of an eventful night for the driver of the number 9. Looking at other battles going on the track right now, Chris. Matt Kuntz and Jacob Chase, nice little battle. Looked like it was developing for a moment back in 16th and 17th position. I believe Chase might have just gotten better of that position. Although I say that Kuntz quickly makes up some ground on exit. It looks like the 43, Chris, is really struggling on the exit of the corners. The last couple of corners I've seen him wind around.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's that exit that Kuntz has right there. He's running up the track really, really high right there, and he's going to get to the inside of Jacob Chase. You know, we talked about that top being a good way to, be able to make up some momentum, be able to, get back in the throttle and make the straightaway a little bit longer right there. And we'll see if he's able to make the pass. Looks like he's going to slide back a little bit here. And yeah, see, Jacob Chase learned something. I think that he actually, adjusted his line right there on corner entry. He had a little bit of a later arc to the corner there. And man, I was also going to bring up, we had a lot of shade on the track. It was like the sun's coming right back out, but we had a lot of shade around the track. It almost looked like a storm was rolling through there, and I got a little bit worried there, with the changes to iRacing lately.
I was thinking, I was like, oh man, did we set the wrong time of day for this track? Because it was getting so dark, and have weather systems kind of affected every track, even if they don't bring rain with them?
I don't know enough. I honestly, this sounds bad, but I haven't even run a lap in the rain yet. I haven't got out there to try it out. I really wish that I would have, but been a little bit busy lately and haven't been able to, as this battle just doesn't go away right here for the 16th spot. So yeah, maybe that's just like an overall change that we've seen for just a cloud cover thing. But we've always had cloud cover, in the sim, in our race sessions. So I think that's pretty cool, though. It gives the track a little bit more grip there for a few laps.
Yeah, right now watching this battle between Jacob Chase, looking for as much grip as possible on the outside. This driver out of Michigan going toe-to-toe with Matt Kuntz, driver out of Washington, D.C. Oh, Chase gets a little bit of the wall. I've seen him do that a couple of times. Watching this battle go on right now, lap 64 of 200. This is a battle for the 16th position between Matt Kuntz and Jacob Chase. Chris, Matt Kuntz is just one of those guys who just silently kind of works his way up. I know not having the night he would prefer right now. He started 19th, so he's up 3 positions. He's just kind of a quiet warrior each and every week, goes out there, logs laps, and he's a consistent finisher for the most part. Very rarely. Last week was one of the only times we've seen him wreck kind of on his own in any race. So not the week he wanted last week, but a nice rebound as he walks away from the 43 of Jacob Chase. That we're talking about Matt Kuntz right now. Another battle going on the track, I believe, Chris, that is Wesley Pistol and Jamie Leach. Battle for the 11th position. Did Leach get by Pistol?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. Wesley Pistol.
So.
Yeah, I think that Wesley is sliding back a little bit here, maybe. You know, a lot of these guys in front of him are also on newer tires. But might be sliding back a little bit compared to some of the guys that are on his same lap tires. As Patrick Colby going to work to the inside right here. Colby is going to move past Pistol and up into the 12th position. Colby is on about 30 lap fresher tires than Pistol.
Yeah, so now you're seeing a tire differential. Patrick Colby on the freshest tires. Pistol coming down pit road. Chris, this is about the time we expected to start seeing some drivers. Pistol's going to be one of the first to come in, those drivers who had not come in for tires yet. Pistol going to be the first taker, lap 68. We expected the fuel window was somewhere between 60 and 70 laps, so accounting for our caution laps earlier, we're about here. Slow drive down pit road. We mentioned it. This is a difficult, tricky entrance to pit road. I think we're about to see Scotty Sobczak come in as well. I'm seeing him key up on the radio. I think we're getting ready for some green flag pit stops as we watch this number 94 make that slow roll.
We're gonna ride on board right here. We're gonna ride on board right here with Scotty Sobczak to see if we can see it from his perspective. Oh, he does not come to pit road this lap right here. I'm gonna try to see if we can catch one of these guys coming on pit road, so all the folks watching at home can see just how difficult it is to make their way onto pit road. This is probably one of the toughest pit roads to make it onto because of how it curves around, and every single race here, somebody seems like drives into these yellow barrels right here. Not this time either.
Tricky pit road, and I thought we were going to start to see drivers come in a little bit here, but not seeing those green flag pit stops yet. Wesley Pistol, really the first taker. Other drivers out on old Tanks Field. Jacob Bradley's probably going to be the first one. Scotty Sobczak up there, Randy Bechtel. Might be getting ready to see them at some point. I don't think there's any way they make it to lap 100. I think they're gonna need at least 2 pit stops if we were to go green the rest of this race. We've got a bit of a green flag look right now. Knock on wood, after that lap 27 incident, we really haven't seen anything since. Now on lap 72, leaders working their way through a little bit of lap traffic. Wesley Pistol, I should say, working his way through lap traffic, trying to get back on the lead lap after making that pit stop. Pistol is going to be, I believe, 2 laps down.
Yeah, you lose 2 laps here under green, and that's another reason why you got to be really careful about when you decide to make that pit stop, because if you come to pit road too early and the caution comes out, and you're still in the middle of green flag pit stops, you're not just 1 lap down, you're 2 laps down. So he's going to be on the gas right here to try to get up there and unlap himself, and he's this is one of those times right here where you just got to cross your fingers and hope that you can make it, without a caution coming out.
Yeah.
Oh,
right
we got
now,
trouble. It's Wesley Pistol.
The number 94 brings the caution out. Let's see if we can find out what happened to that 94 right behind the 68 and the 91. It started with the 91 and the 68 on the exit of turn 4. Wesley Pistol is an innocent bystander. Wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, man. And, yeah, it looks like the 91 sliding up the track right there into the 80, into the 68. I got to find Rye Jones here on my running order, and I will. Yeah, this looks like he just got really tight right in the middle of the corner. Looks like Daniel Rowe is, obviously Daniel Rowe is on a little bit, he just got tight right there. Man, it's so hard here. Like, you get so tight on corner exit, and he just slid right up into him. And unfortunately, man, for Wesley Pistol, just nowhere to go. Just a victim of circumstances there. We're right on board with Wesley, so you can see what he saw. He was just lapping past Paul Thomas right here, and yeah, you can see the 91 on the bottom there. 68 goes to the outside on corner entry right there. He's in a 4-wheel slide. He's just sliding, and then just got him in the left rear, and unfortunately Wesley didn't have anywhere to go.
Wesley pistol an innocent bystander on lap 75 crash, taking a couple of victims here, 3 victims. Luckily, they didn't turn anything else. Chris, we saw green flag pit stops right now going on. Aaron Smith is going to beat off Jeremy Gardner and Jacob Bradley. Aaron Smith, I believe, is going to be scored second place. Josh Ward did stay out on 47 lap old tires, Chris. I'm really curious to see how this restart's going to shake out if Josh Ward continues to stay out on those 47 lap old tires. But Aaron Smith is going to be really the first car on fresh tires in second place. Jeremy Gardner third, Randy Bechtel fourth. The biggest loser there, Chris, I believe, was Jacob Bradley, who might have lost a couple of positions on that pit stop.
Yeah, I think so. And I see a lot of damage on Josh Ward's truck. Obviously, he was caught up in that crash earlier in the race. I think he's just staying out. We talked about him in the points battle.
Yeah, he's coming in now.
Yeah, just stayed out to lead a lap, looks like, maybe, or even for a clear pit road. But yeah, he's coming to pit road now, and that's going to hand the lead over to Aaron Smith. And yeah, we'll see how what type of shape that truck is in. With everybody kind of on an equal playing field here. We talked about the damage earlier that he had. Obviously, you see it right there on the left-hand side. He was so lucky in that first lap crash that nobody really hit him too hard. He just kind of slipped through there, made a little bit of, had a little bit of body contact with some other trucks, and hey, I think he got away with one for sure.
Definitely got away with one. Lap 77 underway, our fourth caution of the evening. About 134 laps remaining. Not yet to the halfway point. A couple things to catch up on in the chat. First of all, we asked you how tall Miles the Monster was. 46 feet was the answer to that question. So congratulations. Either you are an expert or you were paying attention earlier on
he's
in the pre-race opening.
He's going to put that in his Tinder profile, right?
I would imagine so. Yeah. Smart move on his part, for sure.
Yeah, 46 feet tall.
I see what you did there. It's a family show, Chris. Family show. So a couple of other things going on in the chat right now. Connor Lyons, just about 5 laps before that incident, Chris, he said there's going to be a caution on lap number 77. I'm calling it. He was just 2 laps off. So we are on lap number 77 now. Connor, good call with that. Jeremy Gardner in the chat. I don't know how he's driving and chatting at the same time, but he says he's almost out of tires. Says the 5 is almost out of tires. I don't know how many sets. If he's watching, let us know how many sets you got left. If you don't mind spoiling your strategy. But right now, they are gridding up for the restart. It is going to be Jeremy Gardner on the inside. It's going to be Aaron Smith on the outside. And again, the leader is elected to choose the outside for this restart, about half a lap away. Once Aaron Smith hits that blue Geico restart zone, he is allowed to mash that throttle and to lead the rest of the field back to the green. He says he's got 1 tire set left. He said, Rex ruined me. He says, full send ahead. Right. What was it? The Naval Admiral Farragut who said, the damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. That is what the number 5 of Jeremy Gardner is going to be channeling here for these next few laps, the rest of the race. It's going to, however, be the number 70 who's going to take the green flag from the lead. He gets a great jump on the rest of the field. Jacob Bradley gets away on the outside, going to get by Jeremy Gardner, who's going to relinquish that second position. He slides into third. The battle is for fourth. Randy Bechtel and Justin Wilson, Payday Racing teammates, battling it out. Bechtel a little bit loose off the corner. Wilson gets the position on the outside. Scotty Sobczak back into the 6th position. Behind them, it's going to be Scott Tompkins, Chris Pearce, Johnny Rapp, and Chase Berry. Single file right now. Top 10, Chris. Aaron Smith, Jacob Bradley. This is a little duel going on for the lead. I thought Aaron Smith might try to defend to the outside. Look at that run off turn 2.
Great
Jacob Bradley to the inside. Number 50 to the point. First time tonight that second time tonight that 50 is going to lead. Aaron Smith not going to let him go. A little bit of a crossover there down into turn number 1. Smith, Bradley side by side.
Oh, almost contact. Oh, Smith's around.
Bradley's up the corner, down the backstretch. The 70's in the inside wall. That is your points leader, Aaron Smith. battling for the lead, takes himself out down the backstretch. Heavy contact for the 70. Chris, you don't see that often.
No, that was just some really close racing, and oops, yeah, it kind of went away. We'll see if we can go back here, see if we can find this. Yeah, here we go. So this is, this was at the crossover point right here where Aaron Smith back to the inside of Jacob Bradley, and they get really, really close right here, and I guess it just takes all the side force off that truck. Also, maybe Aaron Smith had a little bit more wheel into it right there as he's trying to keep off that left rear of Jacob Bradley. We're going to ride on board here with Aaron Smith, see if we can see maybe his steering wheel input right here. Looks like he's sliding up right here in the center of the corner. Yeah, you can see his working the wheel right here on entry to 1. See just how close Jacob Bradley, look at him. They're really close right. Oh, a little bit of contact right there. Slid up into him. Yeah, you hear he nailed the throttle right there to try to keep that truck from getting as much as little damage as he possibly could. And yeah, don't see Aaron spin too often, but man, that's just hard racing right there. Shows you
Very
how hard this track
racing. Don't see that happening that often, Chris. Aaron Smith bringing out caution number 5 on the night, lap 83. That is your points leader. That's some pretty significant damage on that 70. We had seen him kind of get in some trouble earlier in the race, work his way back up. They're fighting for the lead on lap number 82, and it just all went wrong from that point on. I don't think we're going to see a lot of the drivers come into pit at this point. Jacob Bradley retains the lead. He's going to be in first. Jeremy Gardner second. Justin Wilson having a quiet night there in third. Randy Bechtel fourth. Scotty Sobzak fifth. Scott Tompkins, Chris, shocker, has not been taken out of the race yet. His teammates have been, but he's still hanging there in the sixth position. Chris Pearce seventh. Chase Berry quietly in the top 10. And I believe, Chris, he's one of those drivers who is hanging on to tires like dear for his life. So Chase Berry with lots of sets of tires left in this race. Johnny Rapp, 9th. Matt Coons, how about it, Chris? He's up into the top 10. I know Lovely Days is going to love to be hearing that. Nick DeCesare in 13th. This is one of those nights that very racing motorsports fans just dream of.
Yeah, they're having a really good night, really solid night. Have kept their trucks clean for the most part and are running really well. Who this caution is a big break for. You mentioned not many people coming to pit road. The only people that will be coming to pit road are the ones who took the waiver round on the last caution. And for those guys, this is a big break for them because they took the waiver round, but they were on really old tires and they were hoping for a quick caution so they come to pit road and change those tires out. And they got that caution.
They got the caution they needed. Not the caution we probably wanted, not the caution Aaron Smith certainly wanted, but it's working out in several of these drivers' favor. A couple of chats. Evan Pienta, Chris, had a good one in the chat. He said Miles wanted a banana and decided the 70 was the best option.
Yep. Yeah,
wow.
That's one
of those dad jokes with a face palm at it, but respected at the same time. Look, he's just working his way into the role. He's just working his way into the analyst role that he's going to be filling next week when actually we're going to be bringing a race, an MX-5 Miata road race at Laguna Seca for our MX-5 Spring Classic, Chris. We're going to be broadcasting tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Time. New style of racing. It's going to be a great series, so if you're used to checking us out on Tuesday nights, make sure to check out tomorrow night, same time, new style of racing, some new drivers for you, and a slightly new broadcast team. So show out and support those drivers. If you're in the chat, we appreciate you. Jesse Ortiz, I have no idea who you're rooting for, but your comments are giving me the giggles. Appreciate you tuning in, and keep them coming, man. I don't know if you're watching the right race, the race you think you are, but we are glad to have you either way. Jeremy Gardner is second. Jacob Bradley is the point car on this restart. Looking at right now, Chris, the best cars I feel like are those cars who have only used one set of tires. I feel like these are the drivers who are going to be in the best position towards the end of the race.
I agree. If you're Jeremy Gardner, Jeremy's got to hope this thing goes green to the end. Got to have a green flag pit stop and then, set sail from that point right there. But, if you're Jacob Bradley, Randy Bechtel, Justin Wilson, Scotty Sobzak, Scott Tompkins, you're sitting in a really good position here because you've got multiple sets of tires in the pits.
Best position in the house is that P1, Jacob Bradley. He's going to be the control car on the restart. It's up to him to mash the throttle. He does it right there. We are back underway. Jeremy Gardner did
spun the
slide
tires
a little bit on that restart. He's going to hold up that bottom line. Justin Wilson, Sobczak, Pearce, and Rapp all pay the price for that. Bradley and Bechtel are off to the races, first and second. Gardner third. The battle for fourth is on between right now Scott Tompkins and Justin Wilson. Tompkins in the black car on the outside, Wilson on the inside. Tompkins going to try to duck down to block the number 46, Chase Berry, working to the inside. Can't really close the door. He's able to do it on the front straightaway. That opens the door for Scotty Sobczak to try to duck underneath the number 46 to no avail. Top 8 now single file going further back in the pack, Chris. The battle between, they've all sorted themselves out. As soon as I shifted back there, a lot of the battles sorted themselves out, but this is a hornet's nest where we're looking at, Chris, right now, I'd say in the 14th position. Dan Berg right in front of Raymond Hanneman and Thomas Coonan. This is a hornet's nest, several side-by-side fights going on back here around the 12th, 13th, 14th position.
Yeah, that caution was a big break for Dan Berg right there, as he's able to get fresh tires put on his number 2 truck right here and move back up through the field. And right now he's 14th, so big break for him. As, man, we got Daniel Rowe and...
Rowe in the wall a little bit.
Yeah, he was running really, really close right there with the 85, Raymond Hanneman. Raymond Hanneman is not on the lead lap right now. It's a few laps down right here, but he is he's racing the 68 truck of Daniel Rowe really, really hard right here. Rowe in the 13th spot, and it looks like Thomas Coonan right behind these guys. Looks like Coonan also a lap down right there with, so we've only got 15 trucks on the lead lap currently.
15 trucks, and Chris, we talked about this in pre-race a little bit. This can be one of those races with some long green flag runs where you have 5-6 cars left on the lead lap by the time the whole thing's over.
Yeah, very much so. As yeah, this is shaping up right here, for a recipe for disaster, in some parts of the field. I'm really regretting thinking that this thing was going to go green for a really long time.
We've had some good green flag runs. Oh, ye of little faith. We're doing okay right now. Drivers taming themselves just a little bit of a battle between the Street Limit Racing team here. Raymond Hanneman and Thomas Coonan. This is a battle going on for it's not actually a battle, it's a battle on track. Not a battle for position. Raymond Hanneman is a little bit further back in the field. Thomas Coonan currently in 18th in that red and white truck. Looking further back through the field just to see what kind of action we've got brewing on the track. Everyone pretty tame right now. Single file here from Dover, lap number 92. Jacob Bradley is your leader. Randy Bechtel second, Chris. We've seen Randy Bechtel have some really strong runs. One at Iowa, but hasn't been able to get back to victory lane, but he has been strong week in and week out. He's established himself as a championship contender, the driver of that number 51 out of Pennsylvania. This is one of the best seasons we've had seen him have in quite a while. Randy Bechtel, he's just Mr. Consistency. He doesn't let much flap him. He is cool and collected out on the track, and that's not something that you find in every single driver. And in a simulation or a racing game as this, as a race car driver, virtually or not, you can't let something get the better of you in the middle of the race. And we see drivers struggle with that. I struggle with it. You've been on my radio in some races before. But Randy Bechtel is not one of those guys. He is about as calm, cool, and collected as they get.
Yeah, and if this thing does go green to the end here, this track and that type of scenario, that's like right in Randy Bechtel's wheelhouse. Randy is really good on these tracks where you have to manage your tires. And if he can get a long run, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to go up there and see him contend for the win. Getting a long run and possibly being able to use that long run, utilize that to, be able to, sort of, put a lot of trucks a lap down here. That's one thing that we talked about leading into tonight is, there's a possibility here to put a lot of trucks a lap down. I don't think that's going to happen tonight now based upon the number of cautions we've had, but this track and that type of scenario, I think that really fits Randy well. And, this season he has been on it.
He has been on it. One driver I want to talk about, Chris, who had a really good qualifying effort, who got caught up in some stuff earlier on in the race. Just shout out to Tony Caputo, who had a top 15 qualifying run, running 29th right now. A little on-track action between him and Nick DeCesare in the 00 right now. DeCesare on the inside. Caputo working his way around the track on the outside. It's a good-looking paint scheme. We did a paint scheme competition with some Evan Pienta Designs paint schemes last week, and that was one of the final 4 trucks that made it to the semifinals of that contest, which fans voted on social media. And they sent that 7 truck to the semifinals. That's a good-looking paint scheme. You like barbecue at all, Chris?
I love barbecue, but, you know, if you speak to anybody, you know, who likes barbecue, they're going to tell you that barbecue in their home state is better than barbecue in any other home state. So, of course, I'm naturally biased and think that Alabama, specifically North Alabama barbecue, is better than any other barbecue.
You like the white sauce?
I love white sauce.
I've never been a big fan of the white sauce. We grew up in the same town, had one of the most famous barbecue places around in the Southeast, and I was never a big white sauce fan. You know what kind of sauce I like? I like the Kansas City mustard-based sauce.
That's
Let
all
us
right. I
know
won't hold
in
it
the
against
chat.
you.
Let us know in the chat what barbecue sauce is your favorite. Let us know in the chat what barbecue sauce is your favorite. And while you're doing that, while you're typing, go ahead. If you have not subscribed to Slingshot Racing League's YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and also hit that thumbs up button to give us a like. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps get these drivers in front of more eyeballs. I know the analytics and the all of that math is above my head and the coding, but I promise you, if you click like, if you click subscribe, we get more views and your drivers get in front of more eyeballs and just get more fans. So we love our community, but hey, we want to add more even to it and continue to add more excitement to this chat week in and week out. Oh, looks like a little bit car in the wall there. I'm not sure if that was the 44 of Patrick O'Toole or not, but it looked
like
as soon as I looked up. 44 having trouble crawling his way down the backstretch in that number 44 Prater Willie syndrome truck. O'Toole had a pretty good run. He'd got caught up in some earlier action, kind of creeping his way down pit road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he went way up the track right there. Yeah, it does brush the wall. I don't know what happened there, but, yeah, not a lot of damage. Just he'll be able to keep on rolling right here, and it should be all right.
Should be okay. Jacob Bradley doing really okay right now. He's about 10 car lengths up on the number 5, Jeremy Gardner. Randy Bechtel third, back and forth, Justin Wilson. These drivers top 4 about evenly spaced. Scott Tompkins right now, Chris. This is a battle heating up for the 5th position. Tompkins and Sobzak working on each other. Sobzak, that red, white, and blue truck right in front of him, the black number 25. Tompkins looking to the inside, showing a nose. Sorry, that's Sobzak showing a nose to the inside of Tompkins as they head down into 1. Now off turn 2, down the back straightaway. Tompkins, good run going for the driver, the number 25 tonight.
Yeah, he's running really, really solid. You know, been up there near the front for a lot of this race, and hey, he's keeping that nose clean, staying out of trouble, avoiding all the crashes. So, yeah, having a really good night right here. And hey, riding on board right here with Scotty Sobzak, I think this is a good opportunity to sort of demonstrate the different lines. You know, we mentioned diamonding the corner earlier. That looks like what Scott Tompkins is doing right here. You know, entering in right here, maybe drifting up a little bit sooner in the corner. He doesn't really do it here as much as he did on the other end the last time, so we'll follow on board here. But it seems like Scotty Sobzak driving it in on corner entry a bit harder. A little bit more of a shallow entry right there. Tries to get to the bottom a little bit sooner than Scott Tompkins does. You know, you might say which way saves tires a little bit more. You know, I've seen both ways save tires. The way that Scotty Sobzak is doing it, I think, is the way that
Caution is out on the track. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good.
See if we can return to the scene of the crime and figure out what actually happened here.
Looks like I do not know.
Aaron Smith. I'm not sure what happened with that number 70 truck.
We'll go back here and see if we can see what might have happened. Oh, crash in front of Aaron Smith, actually. That was Raymond Hanneman. And Josh Ward looks like they made some contact. Raymond Hanneman running in the 29th position right here. Josh Ward Looks like Josh Ward was currently running in the 13th spot right here. Ward on the exit of turn 2. They get really close together. Oh, and just some contact right there. Looks like he hooked him in the left rear. So I think this one might be kind of cut and dry as far as how the race control calls this one.
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably something race control is going to deal with, and probably something we might hear.
That looked like some net code, some serious net code right there. I don't know if Josh Ward was just, he might be trying to run. I'm trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt here.
Always.
Looks like, he might have been trying to get, a really good entry into that corner right there, trying to wait as long as he can. We're right on board with Rye Jones right here, who's right behind these guys. Man, and you can see that is some serious net code. There was no actual physical contact between the trucks. They might have still made contact. I'm not sure. It looks like Hanneman kind of does hit the wall a little bit there. Kind of bounces down the track a little bit on the straightaway. That's really close. If the 92 is given a little bit more room, maybe there's no contact there at all. If the 85 doesn't hit the wall, maybe there's also no contact. So that's going to be a tough call for Sam Maxwell.
It is a tough call. And look, as much as we talk about, maybe some disappointments, some of the wrecks, that's real life racing. A lot of drivers, very rarely do we get NASCAR races where no one wrecks. So, these cars are just as hard to drive as the ones in real life, and in different ways sometimes. And you're kind of seeing the challenge of that play out right now for several drivers. So caution right now, a couple cars coming down pit road. Trying to get caught back up here.
Yeah, it looks like the 85, the 86, I saw the 91, the 22, they were also on pit road. So some of these guys looks like they were towards the back of the field. We did miss some pit stops before as we were looking at that replay. Looks like Jacob Bradley, Randy Bechtel, Scott Tompkins, Scotty Sobczak, all those guys came to pit road. So looks like from about 6th on back, all those drivers decided to make pit stops right there. Whereas you've got Jeremy Gardner, who's up at the front of this thing, Justin Wilson, Chase Berry, Daniel Rowe, and Dan Berg. Those guys decided to stay out right here. Interesting variation of strategy. We're not surprised, I think, to see Jeremy Gardner stay out. Jeremy's got to stay out. He's got to stretch these tires as long as he can. A little bit surprised to see Justin Wilson and Chase Berry do something a little bit different than their payday teammates.
Yeah, definitely mixing up the strategy just a little bit. Hey, let's take a breather real quick. We're going to go ahead and hear from our partners over at Apex Energy. We'll be back on the other end. Actually, before I say that, Chris, are we one to go right now?
We are one to go.
Right. Okay, we'll hang tight then. We'll hear from Apex here shortly as we get ready to set up this restart. Didn't have as much time as I thought I had. Had to take a look at that replay. But right now, Jeremy Gardner is going to be your leader, Chris. You mentioned the first 5 cars on nearly 30 laps plus old tires. So Jacob Bradley is going to be your first car on fresh tires. He's going to have a challenge in front of him. If you're the driver that's number 50, how nervous are you right now if you're Jacob Bradley?
You got to be nervous for the tire spin in front of you on the restart, especially some of these guys who are on these hotter tires right here in front of you, spinning the tires. The banking on this straightaway right here, we've seen some problems with that on restarts all night. But, I think that's your first step is try to avoid that. Then step 2 is try to be the first one to get through these guys and have that, that track position. Because you're going to see these guys come through the field really, really fast. They're going to have a huge advantage.
And we're going to be watching it right now. Jeremy Gardner on point for the restart. Once he hits the Geico restart zone, he can hit the throttle. He waits till the very end of it. He hits that throttle. We are green. Dan Rowe on the outside. We got a big stack up. The 68, the 51 of Randy Bechtel also caught in that big stack up down the front stretch, Chris. I can't say that I am surprised after seeing 5 drivers on old tires. It doesn't look like everyone else was expecting the checkups we saw, though.
Yeah, we'll go back and watch here before we say anything. First one I saw right here. We'll actually see if we'll ride right here. Yeah, Daniel Rowe was way out of shape right there. That was the one that I saw get more out of shape than any other one, and some contact from behind from Jacob Bradley. Yeah, way out of shape right there. Just having a hard time getting. It looks like Jacob Bradley actually got hit from behind by Scott Tompkins.
And then everyone just kind of piled in.
Randy Bechtel, one of our points leaders up there. Man, a tough night for some of our guys in the points tonight. Unfortunately, he got hooked in this deal. Yeah, that's the trouble right there on these restarts. We mentioned it that you could possibly see that here. We're going to go back and actually watch this from the chopper. Actually, we're not going to see anything but the grandstands. So we'll get a different view right here from the blimp. And you can see just the speed difference. Watch the 68. He gets loose right there. Jacob Bradley, Jacob's doing everything he can to stay off of him. But he just can't. And, man, just from there, everybody's just... This is a self-cleaning track. The straightaways are banked more than corners are at some of our tracks that we go to.
Lots of carnage tonight if you are tuning in, Chris. Yeah, I think there are going to be some drivers with a lot of hurt feelings tonight, and that is racing. That's how it goes. But right now, I'm just looking through the chat. Brendan Garvey says Coons and DeCesare are closing in. Well, Coons had a really good start. He made it through that. DeCesare had some issues. He was involved in that crash. So you're 50-50 for that, Brendan, as well as Lovely Days. I know y'all are rooting on the Very Racing Motorsports teammates. One of those came out unscathed. The other one not so much. So,
yeah,
hey,
Lovely
while
Days.
we're on the caution,
I was going to say, Lovely Days. Gonna have to paint their names on every single week. So.
Might be a party tonight. Speaking of parties, no party's complete without Apex Energy Drink. Let's go ahead and hear from our presenting title sponsors of the race, Apex Energy. Been with us for 6 seasons. We'll hear from them. We'll be back on the other end of this break for the restart.
Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta.
How do we get these one-of-a-kind amazing trophies? Well, we were fortunate to find UD Awards when we started our league. We reached out and we connected with Christopher, and we got started designing these one-of-a-kind works of art. The process was easy from start to finish. After just a few revisions, we finalized each one of them, and the team at UD got to work building each trophy from scratch. They're a small team, but they've got the ability to do just about anything your brain can imagine. And don't worry, if you're not an artist, they've got an entire catalog of unique trophies in pretty much any material you can imagine. Wood, acrylic, glass, and in the case of last season's trophy, metal. The best part, they're affordable. If you're looking for a trophy for your event or league, the choice is simple. UD Awards can give you exactly what you want.
Back here at Dover, getting ready for the restart. Justin Wilson is your leader. Jeremy Gardner second. Justin Wilson takes the green flag. The 5 struggles on the start. Chase Berry and Justin Wilson off to the races. Outside line stacked up just a little bit. We are off to a clean start. Scott Tompkins in third. Jacob Bradley fourth. Jeremy Gardner slides back to 5th right now. He's got Aaron Smith behind him in 6th. Chris Pearce not too far behind. Battle right now. Gardner sticks to the outside almost for a second. He lets the number 50 go. Jacob Bradley to 4th. Gardner back to 5th. Matt Kuntz underneath Johnny Rapp. Now up to the 8th position, Chris. Johnny struggling a little bit on the outside here. Looks like Thomas Coonan also going by on the inside. Several cars kind of getting on the outside, getting out of shape just a little bit. Chase Berry, one of those other cars further up towards the front. Chase Berry now trying to hold off Jeremy Gardner, both a little bit loose off the corner there, Chris. I'm not sure what battle to focus on. Feel like we've got a couple brewing here on the track right now.
Yeah, Scott Tompkins got through the traffic really well, but he could not get around Justin Wilson in time. Looks like Wilson is going to allow Jacob Bradley to go past. Not allow, Bradley just goes past right there. But Scott Tompkins, I think, a little bit frustrated with Justin Wilson. Kind of got hung up behind him right there. Saw him make a darty move right there, but if I'm Scott Tompkins...
3 wide, Chris.
Oh, man, it is 3 wide. Aaron Smith up on the top right there. Jeremy Gardner hung in the middle.
Oh, Coonan gets lucky, but almost puts the 70 into the wall, sliding up off the bottom there. Coonan up to the 5th position. He is on fresh tires, or fresher, some of the freshest in the field. Gardner and Pearce almost get into it there. This is a battle going on for the 7th and 8th position. Chase Berry continues to lose some spots.
Yeah, Chase Berry, Justin Wilson, and Jeremy Gardner are the guys that are on the older tires up here. Those guys are trying to hold on to a set for the end.
Several drivers right now, just 79 laps left in the race, doing everything they can to get track position early on. Further battles going back. I'm looking at Patrick Colby getting passed by Jay Leach right now. Actually, that's not a battle for on-track position. So many cars are lap downs, Chris. I'm having trouble telling who's who and where everybody is on the track in terms of laps and what battles are what. Trying to get everything reset here.
Chris Pearce bouncing off the wall right there. This battle is really intense right here between the 70, the 65, the 5. With as many cautions as we've had, Jeremy Gardner is Justin Wilson. Those guys are not that far off speed-wise. It seems Chase Berry as well. They're up here and they're running some pretty decent lap times considering they're on about in some cases they're 30 to 40 laps older tires.
All right, close battle going on. 124 out of 200. Lots of action, Chris, going around on the track right now.
Battle for second right here between Tompkins and Coonan. Coonan rolling the top right here. These guys get really, really close on entry to turn 1. I think Thomas Coonan, if he does not get tight here, I think that he will be able to... He's got some momentum here. Can't complete the pass yet, but I think... Oh, man. Yeah, that was really, really close right there on entry to turn 3. That Coonan's going to roll the bottom here, and he's going to maybe set his sights here on Jacob Bradley. He's got the freshest tires of anybody else up here.
Thomas Coonan right now on a rail. Looking at lap times, that time by about 3.5 tenths faster for Thomas Coonan in the number 86, chasing down Jacob Bradley. Right now, he is the fastest car on the track, but he does have fresh tires. And we are going to be having that conversation later on in the race. Drivers who saved their tires, drivers who didn't, who has sets left at the end of the race. Further back through the field, it is a hornet's nest no matter where you look. Several cars separated by a car length or less. Jeremy Gardner, Chris, trying to hold off Matt Kuntz and Rye Jones, who's a lap down. It's a battle for position with Kuntz right now. Jeremy Gardner in 7th, Kuntz in 8th, looking for 7th. This is a good battle we've got going on right now. We mentioned kind of the different line Kuntz was running that was giving him a lot of momentum off the corners earlier on in some battles we were watching, seeing if he's continuing to kind of run that diamonded line. Looks like he's running a lane up and getting a pretty good run off the corner.
Yeah, he is. He's right here. He's trying to work on a driver that's got a little bit older tires right here. But yeah, if you're Matt Kuntz right here, just be patient. And he's a very patient driver, and you should be able to work his way around a driver that's on much older tires here than him.
Close battle going on right now. Matt Kuntz, not a battle for position, but on track he's having to deal with Jay Leach on the 22. The 13 works his way around, but that 22 hangs to his right rear quarter panel. Jay Leach doing a good job after being involved in some other incidents on fresher tires. Working his way now by the 5 on the outside. Leach in the wall just a little bit. Kuntz down to the inside. Gardner on the inside trying to work their way and deal with some of these cars on older tires. Now fresher tires, but a lap down. Nick DeCesare, Chris, on fresh tires is up to 7th position. Great comeback for him. I know Lovely Days and Brendan are going to be happy in the chat to see the Very Racing Motorsports 00. Sunoco using that Sunoco fuel to work his way up through the field right now to 7th position, setting his eyes on the 46 of Chase Berry. Battles going on all over the track. A lot of attrition tonight has led to a lot of drivers kind of having really good runs that we're not used to seeing in the top 10 every week.
Yeah, and Thomas Coonan is your race leader. He has gotten around Jacob Bradley, moved that street limit truck up into the first spot right here. So, yeah, this is, by far the best run that we've seen Thomas Coonan have. Also, we've seen him have speed at points this season, but he's found himself in trouble a lot of the weeks. Some of it's, victim of circumstances, some of it been of his own making, but he's running really fast tonight. The only problem that I think that he's going to have is, he came up through the field really, really fast, faster than anybody else on those tires. Did he maybe push that truck a little bit, push those tires a little bit too much? Did he push them a little bit too hard right there? And that's so we're going to see right here over the course. If this thing goes green to the end, I think that we'll get a good indication one way or another if he did push it too hard.
Thomas Coonan right now looking at lap times. Last time by was about 10 slower than Jacob Bradley. After passing him, Bradley seems to have been able to reel him back in. Now just a car leak separates first and second place. It's Coonan on the point. Bradley second. Bradley looking like he's getting close to tattooing the rear bumper of that number 86, Chris. This is tough racing. And a lot of these drivers, Chris, have exchanged everything except Christmas cards out on the track tonight.
Yeah, Jacob Bradley really rolling the center of the corner really well right now. I think that he is really getting through the center of the corner a little bit better. Oh, he's doing a little bit of a diamond, some diamond action right here. He's going to have a good run on exit right here. I think he'll get to the left rear, maybe. Yeah, he is. He's going to get to the left rear of Coonan.
Bradley to the inside. Coonan really can't do anything to defend it. He relinquishes that position off the corner. Gets a bit of a run off of 4. He's going to jump back to the inside. This battle is not over. 86 looks to go to the point, take it back from Bradley. He rides up the track a little bit, gets out of the throttle. Bradley's going to have the run off of the corner here, down the long backstretch. The 50 is back to the lead. 64 laps left here from Dover, Delaware. Slingshot Racing League, the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas Performance. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the booth tonight, and it has been an action-packed evening, Chris. We've got an active chat going on right now. Connor Line says Miles the Monster's favorite color is yellow because of the banana, and anything that's yellow in the track is what Miles the Monster wants to get. We have seen a lot of action from Miles the Monster, taking a lot of victims tonight, Chris. But right now, Jacob Bradley been able to stay out of the fray most of the evening. Chris Pearce running fourth, doing a good job in that 65 after taking a couple of weeks off, Chris. He's running some fast laps right now. That time by, he was within a tenth of the fastest lap on the track. So that number 65, no slouch right now.
He labeled the wall right there off of turn 2. But, yeah, he's been... he's been up there near the front, up in the top 10, really solid all night. And yeah, you said, it's been a couple weeks since we saw Chris Pearce on track. Good to see him back out here and having a really nice solid run here tonight.
Having a very nice solid run tonight. Big battle brewing, Chris. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th changing hands. Justin Wilson sitting in 5th position. Nick DeCesare 6th. Scotty Sobzak gets by for Matt Kuntz for 7th. Kuntz back to 8th, and Chase Berry a little bit further back from that action, Chris, but one of the fastest cars on the track right now in this whole pack. Nick DeCesare running 6th, tracking down Justin Wilson. How about that 00 truck tonight?
Yeah, he's just looking like he's just super, super smooth out there. He's hit the pit strategy really well. He's on the same lap tires as Thomas Coonan. Speaking of Coonan, it's Tompkins gets around Coonan up into the second spot right there. We saw Coonan maybe tag the wall right there off of 4, but yeah, he didn't blast his way through the field as fast as Coonan did, but it looks like he's got some good long run pace possibly in that 00 Sunoco Chevy. Started deep in the field, up 23 spots tonight, up into the 6th position.
Yeah, he is working on that Apex Energy Hard Charger Award, adding some points to his total tonight. Nick DeCesare, slightly different line on the outside. It looks like it's working at least.
Got tight right there.
It's tight off the corner there as soon as I say that. Scotty Sobczak luckily checks up for him. Otherwise, we might have had another collision there on lap 143. 58 laps left. We got another Coons fan in the chat, Owen Garvey. Maybe a relation to Brendan Garvey, I'm not sure. But Owen, welcome to the chat. Appreciate you joining in tonight for the final quarter of the race. DeCesare not letting go of the back bumper of Justin Wilson as we watch Jay Leach work his way by. He's a lap down, not a battle for position here, but Kuhn switches to the inside there. Justin Wilson, oh, so close. Wilson closes the door on the 00 of Nick DeCesare. Very close there.
Yeah, Justin Wilson is, he's not doing anything wrong. He's just making it as hard as he possibly can for Nick DeCesare to get around. I think that Nick has got to slow his center of the corner speed up as he's got now some trouble with Scotty Sobczak. I think Nick's got to slow his center of the corner speed up and try to get that run up off. I really liked what he was doing with his line right there. But I don't think he could quite get the run off like he wanted to. We saw him get tight a couple times on corner exit, but see if he can regroup right here. Scotty Sobczak, man, look at the damage on the front end of that truck, and here he is up here in the 6th position.
Yeah, it is, as you mentioned, been a night of attrition for sure. Just looking at a couple things I'm noticing, Chris, Scott Tompkins is reeling in Jacob Bradley. Bradley getting caught in traffic right now. As these leaders catch lap cars, they have to be very strategic about how they're going to get by. Right now, looks like Scott Tompkins is closed up about 0.4 of a second in just about 4 laps or so, Chris. So he is closing. Looking at lap speeds, he was a little bit slower that time by, but Jacob Bradley really dealing with some trucks on fresh tires right now. I'm curious, looked really loose through that corner, by the way, the driver of the number 50. Scott Tompkins, that time by, Chris, was nearly 2.5 tenths faster than Jacob Bradley. I'm curious to see with a slightly cleaner track ahead of him if that helps Bradley or not. But right now, Bradley really struggling in lap traffic.
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of trucks out here who are damaged. A lot of trucks as Tony Caputo hits the wall right in front of these guys. Man, that could have been disastrous for both of them. But Scott Tompkins had to take some. He just narrowly missed him right there. Had to take some evasive action. Did a nice job getting by, and it really didn't slow him down that much. He's still right there on the back bumper of Jacob Bradley.
Yeah, that was very, very, very close between those drivers. Scott Tompkins loses a little bit of ground on Jacob Bradley. He's got the lap car or truck of Raymond Hanneman looking to the inside, who's on slightly fresher tires on this run now on lap 150 of 200. Tompkins doing everything he can to keep that number 50 in his vision out of that front windshield. Right now, doing a good job not letting it by. The 85 is going to go by on the outside, though. I'm sure Tompkins is going to be fine letting him go. He's a lap truck. Bradley struggled out of that corner, Chris. He's going to have the 85 to deal with. How much of a difference might this make down into the corner?
Well, I was going to say this could be the difference, but yeah, Jacob Bradley does a nice job right there. He really doesn't put much of a fight with the 85. He lets him go as Scott Tompkins is putting a lot of pressure on the driver of the number 50.
Yeah, this number 25 is pretty stout right now as they work their way by the number 42 of Paul Thomas. Tompkins down to the inside, running a slightly kind of lower entry into the corner. It's pushing him up, and then he's able to dart it back down on exit, Chris. Chase Berry, however, is actually, I should say Chase Berry is a lap down. I don't remember what happened to Chase Berry.
He's been under green.
On the race.
I think he is.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that Chase is hoping this thing goes green to the end. He was the first one to come to pit road right here. You can see how fast he is. Just look how he's able to roll the bottom.
Yeah, about 8 laps ago, we missed that pit stop from the number 46 of Chase Berry, but you mentioned it. He is hoping for a green flag run the rest of the way. He's looking to make up that track position by short pitting on the rest of the field, and he just blows the doors off Jacob Bradley. But right now, Bradley and Tompkins are almost side by side, both loose off of turn 4. This is shaping up to be quite the battle for the lead right now, Chris. It looks like Scott Tompkins has the faster truck, at least the last lap or so.
Yeah, he's just rotating the center of the corner. Here he goes. He's looking to the inside of Bradley.
Down to the inside, the 25 of Scott Tompkins looks to go to the point. They're side by side through turn 3 and 4. On the exit of turn 4, the 50 gets the better end of that fight. Tompkins got a little bit loose off the corner, started to push up. They roll their way by the number 2 of Dan Berg. Also having a good run tonight, Chris, until he's running 13th. So they put 13 cars a lap down. Gets out of the way really quickly, letting these leaders settle it amongst themselves. The final 45 laps of the race. Jacob Bradley in the lead. You can see that 25 truck gets a much better run off turn 4.
Yeah, it does. He's just able to get, it's like from about the 3/4 mark. Oh man, that's super, super close right there. The variations in line right there. It seems like from about the 3/4 mark to the corner exit, he's just a little bit quicker than Jacob Bradley. And Jacob, I mean, it's not like Jacob's that far off of him either. These guys are super, super close on speed. I think that maybe if Scott Tompkins got around him, I think you might see him put some distance on him, but I don't know if he'd do it by a whole lot, as they're really, really close.
Any run you get off the corner, you're probably going to channel into the pass on the inside, and we've seen cars on the outside just be able to hang the right rear quarter panel of those trucks and just be able to stick with them, and that's really the challenge right now. If you're Scott Tompkins trying to figure out how to make that pass, he sets himself up pretty well. But Chris, look, Jacob Bradley moved up in the corner just a little bit and takes a little bit of that advantage away from Scott Tompkins.
Yeah, if you're on the inside of a guy, and especially racing for a position like this, with it being as close as it is, you are at the mercy of the guy on the outside right there, because he can pinch you as hard as he wants to. Now, that puts you at his mercy too, as he's going to look to the inside.
Battle to the inside. Scott Tompkins goes for the lead. We're going to see if he can hang with Jacob Bradley here. Oh, almost a little bit of contact off of turn 2. They race down the back straightaway. Bradley takes the lead back. But look at the difference in line. It gives Tompkins the opportunity to work his way down to the inside. He's got to be careful not to push up into the side of the 50 of Jacob Bradley.
Hey, I love what I'm seeing right here, because these guys are changing their lineup, doing everything they can right here to try to gain that position or try to hold on to the position in case of Bradley. Here comes Scott again. He's going to look back to the inside.
Looks back to the inside, gets the run off of turn 2. That seems to be the place where Scott Tompkins is the best. He gets really pushes up off turn 4 into the side nearly of the 50, shows discretion, lets out the throttle. Chris, that's all you can do. That's all you can ask for is drivers to just let out the throttle. He's going to live to fight another day here, Scott Tompkins. If he's got the speed that we think he has, he's got some time. Hopefully he's not driving the tires off that truck right now, doing his best to stick with Jacob Bradley, the race leader. That 25 truck is a rocket ship right now. He's got about 39 laps left if he's going to get the job done, but I suspect we're going to be seeing pit stops before the end of the race. We've already seen several drivers come in for pit stops. Chris Pearce pit about 4 laps ago. Justin Wilson has also come in along with Aaron Smith. So how much longer can you wait if you're Jacob Bradley, if you're Scott Tompkins, if you're these guys up front? Is your bed pretty much made, or are you looking at one more stop? 54 laps without a pit stop for Jacob Bradley. We thought the window was somewhere around 60 to 70, so I don't think he's going to be able to make it the whole way.
Man, Scott Tompkins loose right there in 1 and 2. Yeah, I think that if you're these guys up here at the front, they're in a little bit better position because they had fresher tires at the beginning of that stint. So I think they feel like, they have the comfort to be able to stretch this a little bit longer. I don't think they're going to go that much longer, but I think that they're not feeling a ton of pressure to come to pit road right this second. I just want to say I love what I see right here at the front. You brought it up before. A lot of respect shown right there between Scott Tompkins and Jacob. Here comes Tompkins to pit road, but he did everything he could to race him as hard for the lead as he could without making contact. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, and now the pressure really is going to be on Jacob Bradley. We've seen some of his biggest competition pit at this point. how much longer does the driver of the number 50 stay out?
It's got to come
and
this
allow
time.
those drivers to gain ground. Yeah, I think we've got to see the number 50 coming this time by. We're going to look. I'm seeing a slight decel. Yep, the 50 is coming in. So this is your leader. One lap later than his closest competitor, Scott Tompkins' pit. Lap 165, about 36 laps left in this race. That's going to cycle the lead over. I believe Thomas Coonan also coming down pit road, Chris. That's going to cycle the lead over to Scotty Sobczak, sitting in the lead now in the number 81 truck. He's been fast all night, but I don't think he's had one of the fastest race cars. You've seen the damage he took on and incurred earlier on in the race. He's got Aaron Smith, not a battle for position. Smith is a lap down, but he's on fresh tires as well. So lots going on the track. Did I just see Scott Tompkins get a black flag?
I'm not sure, but we're going to be watching these guys right here. We're going to be watching Tompkins and Bradley here to see who wins the race off of pit road. Here comes Bradley.
No black flag. No black flag.
Here comes Tompkins. Who is going to get the lead right here? Did Tompkins roll fast enough on this lap to possibly have the the
See if Bradley work his way down the backstretch. He's
Tompkins
not going to be able to throw the block. The lead is going to be handed over to Scott Tompkins, and not the official race lead, but what we suspect will be the battle for the lead when this pit cycle cycles through. Scott Tompkins will, at this moment at least, be scored as the leader. They work their way now by a couple of lap cars. Jacob Bradley not wanting to let Scott Tompkins get by too long, though. Bradley to the outside. They're going to have to deal with the 9 of Patrick Colby. Who is he the kingmaker for? He gets out of the way. Good eyes on the part of that driver, the number 9. But, Chris, that is the least of their worries right now. Several lap cars they're going to have to work their way through here. Scott Tompkins and Jacob Bradley threading their way through a lot of haystacks right now. The first being Johnny Rapp. They'll have Josh Ward and Matt Scherf up ahead in front of them. It's between Bradley and Tompkins.
And Bradley got back around him. Yeah, he got back around him and back to the what will be the race lead once all this cycles through.
Now, one of the things, Chris, we had noticed as that run went on, I'd have to look back. Were they on the same set or same tire wear?
It was
essentially the 50 and the 25.
It was very close. I think so. I think that they were on the exact same.
One of the things I noticed was Tompkins was closing as that run went on. We see the number 50 caught behind a couple of cars right now, though. A couple of trucks. He makes an aggressive move on the 4. Yeah, there's only so much patience you can have with about 30 laps left in this race, doing everything they can, Jacob Bradley and Scott Tompkins, to work their way through the traffic. But, Chris, what I was saying is it looked like Bradley his car fell off, or his truck fell off a little bit faster in terms of tire wear over the course of that run. And right now I can't help but wonder, as he drives away from Scott Tompkins a little bit, is he putting himself in a similar box the later this run goes on?
Only Jacob knows that. I would say that this stretch right here is not going to be as long, I don't think. To the end of the race, we've only got, 29 laps to go here. So if you're Scott Tompkins, just maintain this gap right here. What is he, about a second off of him here? Half a second off of him. So, just maintain this gap right here. Don't get so, carried away with trying to be right on his rear bumper. And maybe, that long run speed will pay off here. Jacob Bradley he fired off so well that first lap out of the pits. He just had so much speed, and he got to the right rear of Tompkins, and that's all it took.
Yeah, and they were going through a pack of cars led by Patrick Colby. Chris, Patrick Colby is scored as your leader right now. I'm showing him on lap 65 of his tire stint. But, Chris, one of the biggest things we have not talked about, Chris Pearce. Chris Pearce not too far up in front of these guys. He is able to make it the rest of the way.
Yep.
So Chris Pearce is going to likely be swallowed up here in just a moment by Jacob Bradley, but Pearce going to be standing to pick up a good chunk of positions on this pit strategy unless he just drops even further like a rock than I would suspect.
Yeah, I think that he was running about 5th or 6th. I'm not sure if other guys had made pit stops around him for this. So, but if he can have a net gain before the end of the race, that's mission accomplished for him. I don't know if he'll be able to do that though, as he's got some fast drivers approaching him from behind.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work cut out for him. If we're talking about the driver, the 65, Chris Pearce, trying to hang in the top 5, but he's got some drivers to hold off. Patrick Colby continues to lead. I just don't see any way Patrick Colby, I think probably if I'm right, probably trying to maybe wait for a caution. If you're the driver, the number 1, just stay out as long as possible.
Yeah, I think so. As we got Josh Ward up in the mix right here. He's, on about the same lap tires as these guys right here, but he is not on the lead lap. Can't imagine Scott Tompkins loves having a lap truck between he and the driver that he's going to have to race for the win here. But, Ward's doing what he can to try to, get the best finish that he can possibly get as well.
Yeah, I think Tompkins probably not unhappy to see this move. Josh Ward.
Yeah, he probably loves this.
Inside. Ward on slightly fresher tires than driver number 50. It's going to allow Scott Tompkins to get a little bit closer here. Just about 23 laps left from Dover. Tompkins chasing down race leader Jacob Bradley as they thread their way through lap traffic here in the closing stages of this 200-mile race from Dover, Delaware in the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas. In the chat, let us know, who do you think is going to win this race? Is it going to be Bradley? Is it going to be Tompkins? Is it going to be someone else outside of those top 2? And as you do, go ahead, hit the like button for this race. And also, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We notice a lot of people who watch a large portion of our races aren't subscribed. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button to get live updates when every race starts and anything else we put out. Right now, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, I'll give an attaboy to Josh Ward right there. He tried to complete the pass.
Oh, very close. Patrick Colby.
This is going to do it.
Throws the block. I don't know if he threw an intentional block or just happened to be there, but either way, it blocked the track for Jacob Bradley, and that allowed Tompkins, Chris, to get right by the lead. And
that was,
also, Ryan Hinkle. Close. They hold on to it. Can they hang on to it? Josh Ward gets collected by Ryan Hinkle. Several cars sideways on the front stretch.
They all saved it.
I don't know how that didn't bring out a yellow.
Yeah, and I just want to clean something up. That was Wesley Pistol in front of Jacob Bradley right there. And yeah, I guess it was just the difference in tires right there. Maybe some damage on the 94. I'm not sure, but that enables Scott Tompkins to be able to get around him.
Yeah, and that was just, like you mentioned, the tire where Jacob Bradley kind of had nowhere to go, and that created a chain reaction. But all drivers did a great job of getting it off the track so we could keep going and have what would look like we're headed towards the green flag finish. Obviously, a lot can happen in the meantime. But, hey, while we're saying this, Patrick Colby, he is still your leader. That number 9 truck is yet to come down pit road yet. Chris, I can't imagine. He's on 74 lap old tires. He's on 74 laps of fuel. Here he comes to pit road probably this time by. Yep. Number 9 is coming to pit road this time by. That is going to hand the lead over to Scott Tompkins. He's got about a 10-car length lead on Jacob Bradley right now. That puts Thomas Coonan into 3rd, Chris Pearce into 4th. He's done a good job of holding off Justin Wilson, Chase Berry behind him, Chris Pearce doing a yeoman's work in 4th position. Jeremy Gardner hanging out in 7th position after several weeks absent. Scotty Sobzak is in 8th. Nick DeCesare, I know we got some DeCesare fans in the chat. There is the yellow flag, Chris. Was that Aaron Smith? Trying to see what brought the caution out here. Cordell Lofgren gets off the wall and just comes down into the number 70 truck, Chris.
Man, been a tough night for Aaron Smith. Yeah.
I know Scott Tompkins, I doubt he's going to be happy to see that caution, but that's going to reset us probably with about a 10-lap shootout for the win. Tompkins was pulling away a little bit as they slow down for the pace car, but as we said, Cordell Lofgren gets off the wall, and no one pays the price for that other than the 70 truck of Aaron Smith, and that is going to put him. He was running about 16th when that happened, Chris. I think we're going to see maybe a change in points coming out of tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, it's been a really, really rough night. Didn't do anything wrong there, just Cordell Lofgren got tied off a 4 and bounced off the wall, and unfortunately when he bounced off the wall, he didn't keep it up there and bounced down into Aaron Smith.
So I said we were headed towards a green flag finish, and we very possibly might still be headed that direction. But right now, caution out at lap 186. Chris, what are we looking at in tires? Does anyone have anything left? Are we going to see some pit stops coming up here as the pace car leads them down the backstretch?
Yeah, if you got tires,
Bradley might have them.
If you got tires, you got to take them here. I'm not sure if we might have missed pit road being open. If pit road has not been open yet, then yeah, I think that you have to pit. The difference in speed is just so big, and we'll see right here if Tompkins makes that left-hand turn. I don't think he's going to. I think pit road was open the lap before, possibly.
I do think you are right. I'm looking at Wesley Pistol. I'm pretty sure he's a lap down. He's going to be the first car to enter pit road.
Well, I'm surprised.
But I'm looking through, and honestly, the only ones I thought might have tires might be Tompkins, Bradley, or Smith. But I think that with 3 pit stops, they've probably taken tires every single pit stop. If they had them, they would have taken them here probably. Maybe
so. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm a little bit off on my on who's got tires here, but yeah, this is going to set things up really interesting. And here we go. We've got another restart with some drivers, all the drivers really, except for Justin Wilson is on fresh tires. I just want to highlight this: Justin Wilson, Chase Berry, Johnny Rapp, and Rye Jones all have fresh tires. They all put them on right here, and I'm telling you, they are going to have a huge speed advantage on this restart. I don't know if they've got enough laps to get up to the front right here, because Justin Wilson is the highest one up, and he's going to be restarting 8th, especially if we get another caution. I think that would really do these guys in right here. Especially if it's a quick caution. They're not going to have the laps that they need. But, yeah, we're going to have a restart with some guys that are on some older tires right here, and we got to watch this. We got to watch this tire spin one more time here.
We've been watching that tire spin all night. I think if you're in the chat, you've been watching the race all night. You see a restart, and you're like, oh, boy, here we go. Maybe we can keep it together for one final restart tonight and have a good conclusion, an exciting conclusion to this race. If you're just joining us now, we've seen several leaders out in front. Jacob Bradley, Scott Tompkins as of late. Jeremy Gardner led a portion of the race earlier. Scotty Sobczak as well. Lots of drivers have led tonight, but lots of drivers have also been involved in incidents throughout the race. We've seen some restarts gone awry with drivers spinning the tires, stacking up the field, and creating the track blocker wrecks we worried about in pre-race that Dover is notorious for. But right now, I'm going to be getting ready for a restart with about 12 laps to go. Pace car lights are off, which signifies we are getting ready for the restart. And Chris, I'm not surprised. Scotty Tompkins does choose that outside line for the restart as the leader. Definitely, we've seen him rotating well through those corners on the outside, able to kind of get a good run off. Hoping he's able to do that here is the driver of the number 25. Pace car is going to peel off. It's going to be on Tompkins when he enters the restart zone here, noted in blue. He's going to wait till the end. He gets a green flag. Chris, good start for the 25. Everyone gets going. Nick DeCesare is the exception. In the 00, I see that red and black car struggle a little bit. About 12 to go. Tompkins is your leader. Bradley second. Chris, the cars we were wondering about were Justin Wilson and Chase Berry. They're mired back, 7th and 8th back there. If they're going to move, they're going to have to move very quickly. But right now, not making the progress because, as you mentioned, the track is blocked. Blocking the track right now for Scott Tompkins, or Jacob Bradley rather, is Scott Tompkins. He's got a mirror full of Bradley, but right now it's about 2 car lengths to separate, Chris. Justin Wilson points his nose out underneath Scotty Sobczak. That's a battle for 4th. That 58 truck is coming, Chris. He's moved through the field a lot faster than his counterpart, Chase Berry. Looking inside Coonan for 3rd is the 58 in the catbird seat here with fresh tires. He is coming. Scott Tompkins is going to have a fight on his hands with just about 9 laps left. I don't know if he's got anything for Justin Wilson here.
Oh, yeah.
But Johnny Rapp coming through.
He went up the track right there. Didn't even fight him right there. It's Justin Wilson clearly to the lead right here.
Justin Wilson is now scored as your leader. Fresh tires and a late race caution put him in position to take over the lead fairly quickly here. Johnny Rapp into third rather. He's looking to go by Tompkins, Chris. Chase Berry right behind them. So it is these drivers on fresh tires that are making their way through the field fairly easily, cutting through like butter right now. Rapp and Berry going to go underneath the 25 truck of Scott Tompkins, who's having a good run before that caution. He's going to lose a handful of spots here.
Yeah, I hate it for Scott. I hate it for Jacob because, man, those guys were fast all night, and I hate this is happening for them. But, man, as they say, it's one of them racing deals right now. Justin Wilson's played all of his cards correctly right here, and he is set and sail.
Justin Wilson right now about, let's see, looking through the lap times that time by. I want to see if I'm correct on something, Chris, because I'm looking and I see that Justin Wilson was about 0.3 slower than Johnny Rapp that time by. Let's see if the numbers are lying to me. As they cross the line that time, Johnny Rapp still faster. Chase Berry, Chris, even faster. But if these drivers get caught up racing each other here off of turn 2, they're running out of time. 6 laps left if one of these drivers is going to catch Justin Wilson. Johnny Rapp pulling away from Chase Berry. About 4 car lengths separate second and third position right now.
Oh,
Ryan
Rapp
Jones
in the
behind
wall.
them. Rapp is racing hard, trying to get every ounce of speed out of that number 52 Mission Barbecue Chevy Silverado truck right now. He is doing a good job, but the speed just can't keep up with that number 58 of Justin Wilson. Wilson round turn number 4 on the front straightaway, 4 laps to go.
Man, Chase Berry tags the wall right there off of 4 as well. I feel like Chase has got a lot of speed right now. I feel like if he can rotate and get a good run on exit right here, he might have a chance to get the second spot from Johnny Rapp.
He is working on it right now. These guys are teammates, but they are racing for position as hard as anyone on the track right now. This battle for second continues on. Gets a run off the corner. Down to the inside. Goes to 46. He's got 3 laps if he's got anything for Chris Justin Wilson. I think we're probably going to have another lap or so before we see if the speed is in that 46 truck to be able to do anything with him. But I am seeing that number 58 get a little bit closer, Chris, with just 2 laps left. Barry hits the
He's
wall.
driving hard. He's trying.
He is giving it everything he has got right now down the inside. It's about 10 car lengths back from the 58 to back to second place, Chase Berry. Justin Wilson just about half a lap away from winning his first race of the season. He's got to hold on for one more lap. If we can make it to the white flag, we will race back to the checkers. Things are green. We will see a green flag finish tonight. Justin Wilson is your leader. He's got Dan Berg in front of him, the lap car. He's got to work by, but not much other traffic for Justin Wilson than that. Down the back straightaway, it's Wilson, Berry, and Rapp. Your top 3. Wilson rounds turn 3, rounds turn 4. Tonight, lots of clouds overhead, but the sun was out for the Sunshine State driver, Justin Wilson. Win number 1 on the season for Wilson. Chase Berry second, Johnny Rapp third, Rye Jones fourth. Josh Ward fights back to round out your top 5.
Good recovery for Josh Ward right there. Yeah,
very good recovery.
What a drive. What a drive by Justin Wilson there those last few laps. Handled the strategy perfectly. I do feel badly for both Scott Tompkins and Jacob Bradley, who had arguably the best trucks tonight, but Justin Wilson, he handled the strategy correctly, and he is going to pick up a win. And this is going to do a lot for Justin Wilson in the points. I think that this is probably going to, make him very, very comfortable heading into these final cutoff races.
All right. Well, one race left before the the final cutoff race at Daytona next week. Lots of drivers going to be angling to win that race and get their names into the playoffs. But first, before we get there, we're going to hear from our top 3 drivers. Johnny Rapp, you are in the Slingshot booth. This is Ellis. You got a copy.
Yes, I do. What's happening?
All right. Well, long time no see, at least in the booth for the post-race interviews, my friend. Got to feel good to get a third-place finish. Almost had a win. You had a fast truck there at the end. Talk to us about where you were before that final caution came out. What difference did that final caution make for your race?
Yeah, I mean, that made the race. It's going to be, about 10th, maybe 11th? I don't know. It wasn't a smart decision, but a few of us decided to save a set of tires. And, hey, it worked out in the end. So
it was a smart decision. It worked out in your advantage. You had a lot of speed. You mentioned you were 10th all night. Talk to us about the racing out there. Dover's a tough track notoriously. A lot of drivers had more trouble than we expected tonight. What was the car like for you out there, the truck, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, it's a track I like. Normally it goes green. This was a kind of a surprise, honestly. Like all the restart wrecks and all that, and even I figured once there was a green run, it would clean up, but it didn't. So other than that, it just it would get tight after a while for me anyway, and just kind of trying to modulate your throttle and not burn them up too bad. That's all.
Well, man, you did a whale of a job out there bringing that Mission Barbecue Chevy Silverado up to the front tonight. Good job in that number 52 truck. You got any shout outs to give before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, my dad and my sister out there watching. You guys putting the league on here and doing the broadcast, and top 4 for payday. Shout out to Randy. He got involved in something, feeling for him, but altogether a good night for us. So.
All right, man. Well, good job, driver number 52, Johnny Rapp. Go out, celebrate that podium finish, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, driver number 46, Chase Berry. You are live in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we thought you had something there at the end. You were clicking off some fast ones. Let's hit the pause button and rewind, though. We just talked to your teammate, Johnny Rapp. That tire strategy, what was kind of who was the shot caller on saving that set of tires? Was that an individual decision or a team decision as kind of the race strategy developed? Because that's what ended up putting y'all on top.
Well, I don't know, because I know with Ryan, he was a lap down. He just stayed out to try to make it on gas and couldn't do it, and just caution came out fine. Johnny had a bunch of damage from all the pile up, so I'm not sure, but I knew I was staying out. Either I was going to do something different on the lap 100. If everybody pitted, I was staying out. If everybody stayed out, I was going to pit right there, just doing something different, because I was 5th to 10th all night and just burned my stuff up. Excuse me. And then
that's okay. We'll let it slide.
And then Justin, I mean, he did his thing. He's like, all right. So, but he made his decision on his own. But that's what I was doing. And yeah, and when the caution came out, we got so excited. We was all jumping for joy.
I can only imagine the jubilation in the Payday Racing radio comms.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we was able to make it. Like, I think I would have finished 8th or 9th, which is fine with me. I was wanting the top 10 at the end of the day. I was like, hey, if I was, even the caution didn't come out, a 10th, 9th, 10th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I was like, it's still not a bad run for me. Like, just with this league, I'm not at the top, but I'm like mediocre. So I'm trying to, get back and swing things, trying to run up front and stuff. But having a good run is pretty good.
Well, man, you're always number one in our heart. But you had a bit of a moment off the corner there. Those final couple of laps, you were driving your guts out. We saw you get into the wall as evidence of that, man. We weren't sure you were going to be able to get up there. That first lap or two after the restart, you guys looked like you were kind of boxed in a little bit. But y'all did a really good job of working your way through that traffic. What were the nerves like as y'all kind of threaded your way through that business?
I mean, I don't know. I was getting pissed. I mean, I'm not mad. I get it. I was getting frustrated. It was like, guy, move out the way, move. And then Johnny just winds up. It's like, on the outside. And I'm like, And then, so I had to pass them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think if I could have got him through cleaning, I think I could have gave Justin a run for it. But
man,
it is what it is. I ain't mad at it. Second place. I have a long shot to make the points, maybe. So we gotta have everybody. What's
You're
that?
in a good position. You're in a good position to make the playoffs.
Am I really? Because I was like 40 points back last time I checked.
You are within reach headed into Daytona. I'm almost confident that I wouldn't guarantee that, but especially with the second place finish tonight, definitely. So.
Yeah, if I can have everybody in front of me just take the week off or something, just go ahead and then or run up and just not show up, run a lap and park it. It'd be awesome. But it is what it is.
Before we head off to Daytona, before we let you go celebrate that second place finish, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to you guys for putting this on. I mean, it's been fun ever since we started it, or y'all started it, we just run it. But you know what I mean. Congrats on Justin for the win, Johnny for third, and KB Shop, and Randy, Jacob, I guess, and Ryan. And who am I missing? I don't even know who we got. That's about it.
All right, good job, driver 46 Chase Berry. We'll let you go celebrate that second place finish.
Toodles.
Justin Wilson, driver the number 58. This is Ellison Slingshot Booth. You got a copy, sir?
Of course, man.
Hey, man, we talked to drivers in pre-race, and it was all 58. This guy has Dover covered. We were saying it. People were saying it last week, and I didn't believe them before the final 15 laps or so. So let's talk. First of all, it was a race of attrition. We saw a fair share of collateral damage out there tonight, but you managed to stay out of the fray. Let's just talk about championship implications. You're one of your biggest championship competitors, two of them, Aaron Smith and Randy Bechtel, both got in trouble. So this positioned you really well tonight. So aside from just getting your first win on the season, man, how does it feel to kind of reestablish yourself as a serious championship contender with this win tonight?
Well, I mean, it's good. I mean, this was track that, like I said, we had kind of circled on the list, but I was not the fastest. I knew just sitting there under that one yellow, I said, you know what? I'm going to stay out. I'm going to save that set of tires. Because usually Dover somehow, with 10 to 15 to go, there's always a yellow, at least from, just previous kind of average. And I'm thankful it came out because even though we would have still got a good finish, I think we were running fifth, but us getting fresh sets of tires at the end is just, it pretty much sealed the deal for us. And so it was a good call on our part, but it was definitely a luck. I was sweating just going, that yellow needs to come out.
And Chase had talked about it was quite an exciting moment in the chat when it did come out.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was. We were all cheering because, granted, a top 5 would have been great, but the fact that we could just shoot past everybody for the win on the fresh tires, it just nerves really didn't kick in. It was just more or less trying to be patient and then hoping the guys that also had fresh tires behind me not run me over. I mean, I know that there's a huge speed difference between the two trucks, so you got to give them the room. They're tight, so I let them kind of sort themselves out, took the bottom, and just let it go. But couldn't get nervous because if you got nervous, you would have easily got into one of them.
Nerves of steel, man. Congratulations on the great race and just a great strategy call overall. We're headed into Daytona next week, and then it is the first ever chase for the championship, and you're positioned pretty well. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Any shout outs before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for putting the show on. All this league sponsors, the payday team. We got a really good finish with I think the top 4 there, and then Jacob. Heartbreak for him. He led the whole race and ended up getting finished like 9th or 10th, but paid out for us and. Good race from the team. We had good race from everybody in the league. We had a lot of green flag runs, and that makes Dover a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a rough start, but we had a lot of green flag runs later on the race. So, it was a mixed bag tonight, but you came out on top. So congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate that victory and slide into Daytona riding pretty high.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, man. Take it easy. You too. All right, Chris. So heard from our top 3 drivers there. Quite a race tonight. Lots of different things going on. Of course, we had our carnage in the beginning and moments throughout with some difficult restarts and some difficult racing. But overall, Justin Wilson said we did have some long green flag runs, which set up some interesting strategy, which ended up paying dividends in the end in terms of an exciting finish that we really didn't know how it was going to be settled until the final 6-7 laps or so of the race. Shout out to all the drivers who turned up tonight. We had 32 drivers start on the grid. Wilson Berry Rapp third. Just running through the final running order, Rye Jones finishes fourth. Josh Ward, we mentioned, hard work coming back to finish sixth. Scott Sobzak, sixth rather, Ward fifth. Tompkins hangs on to finish seventh. Coonan, eighth place. Bradley, after leading much of the race, finishes ninth. And Jeremy Gardner holds on to 10th. Chris Pearce, we mentioned, has been running top 4, top 5, finishes 11th. I'll let you pick up, Chris.
Yeah, Chris Pearce, salvaging his day right here. I think he ran better than that. He's going to finish 11th. Same thing with Nick Cesare. We saw him up there in the top 10 a lot the final stages of that race. He is going to gain 17 positions from the 29th starting spot to finish 12th. Patrick Colby 13th, Cordell Lofgren 14th, Lee Campbell 15th, Wesley Pistol 16th, Randy Bechtel, a bit of a tough night getting caught up in that crash, is going to finish 17th. Jacob Chase in 18th, Dan Berg 19th, and Jay Leach. A lot of these trucks from 13th to 20th, they are finishing a lap or more down tonight. Rounding out the rest of the field right here, you got Matt Scherf in the 21st position. Brandon Waldrop, he finishes 22nd. Paul Thomas 23rd. Tony Caputo 24th. Raymond Hanneman will finish 25th. Aaron Smith, 26th. A tough night for our points leader here tonight, finishing 26th. Ryan Hinkle, 27th. Matt Kuntz, 28th. James Danforth, 29th. And Dan Rowe finishing 30th, rounding out the field tonight.
Yep, James Danforth, Patrick Colby, and Jay Heishman rounding things out. Chris, sorry, I was muted there for a second.
That's okay.
My throat's a little bit sore. Been sick all week. Probably can tell by the end of the race my voice was done, but great race tonight. Had a lot of action, lots of thrills, lots of spills. There's going to be a points mix-up after this race is over. I believe Aaron Smith's probably going to fall from the lead. Justin, I don't know though. Randy Bechtel might, his lower finish might help Aaron Smith stay on top. But hey, after next week, it's not going to matter anyways because the points are going to re-rack for the final 5 races of the season. The first ever chase for the championship for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Slingshot Racing League and Hank Thomas Performance. Chris, Daytona's going to be wild next week. We love restrictor plate racing. We only want to do it once or twice a season, but it puts on quite a show. Drivers are going to be hungry to mix it up next week and go out there and get a win. Any departing words of wisdom before we shut down this broadcast for tonight?
I can't wait for next week. It should be fun and entertaining. Restrictor plate racing is not everybody's cup of tea, as you'd say, but it is also an equalizing playing ground in a way. So I always look forward to it because it's a good chance for some of our guys. It's a big opportunity race for some of them who might not be in contention every single week. So I'm really looking forward to it. Love surprise winners, and who knows? Maybe somebody will surprise us, and that'll put them in championship contention. Put them in the chase possibly.
Well, a very quick update for you. Aaron Smith is still your points leader, but Scotty Sobzak is second, just 6 points back. Randy Bechtel is 9 points back, and Jacob Bradley is also 9 points back. 15 points separate the top 5 at the top of the standings, Chris.
That's close. And that's great for those guys. And that's the way that we're doing the points here is that every position matters. So it's not just a win and you're in type of thing. It's think about it like 2004 NASCAR chase for the Nextel Cup type of a playoff scenario. That's how ours is. And for those guys, they want to have the best possible position they can have. At the end of the race at Daytona, because that gives them extra points leading into that first chase race.
First chase race, just 2 races away, and we will find out who's going to be on top of that championship running order headed into Rockingham next week at Daytona as we conclude the regular season, 8:30 Eastern Time. Final race of the regular season, Chris. Everyone tune in. Tomorrow night, though, we will add, we've got a new series running on Wednesday starting tomorrow night with kind of a warm-up race. The MX-5s are going to be running on road courses and ovals. Those cars are going to be wild to watch, especially on the ovals. Tomorrow night, we're running at Laguna Seca. Tune in, short race, low commitment, 8:30 Eastern Time, same channel. We'll look forward to seeing you there. If we don't see you until next Tuesday, though, everyone have a lovely week. So long, everybody from Dover, Delaware.